This is Naoki Yoshida,
This is Fern Hall.
and you are listening to Aetheryte Radio.
Aetheryte Radio.
Here we go!
Hello and welcome to Aetheryte Radio Gamer Escape's Final Fantasy XIV podcast, episode 200. Holy cow. That's a big number.
200!
So today we've got everybody here. We've got Zadidra, we've got Aldino, we've got Rook, and we're going to have 9 guests today. Our first is Frosty. Frosty's also doing a podcast today, so we're going to get him done so he can actually go prep for that.
Yes.
Of course, obviously, you're watching us. You can go watch Frosty later. Everything will be on VOD and YouTube, and, you know, so lots of good content for Final Fantasy XIV fans today.
You're gonna be watching
Bored?
Twitch all day.
Not anymore.
Yeah, lots of stuff to do while you boja. So, I mean, maybe. So today, how today's gonna work? We're gonna have a roulette wheel of questions. We're gonna spin that. We're gonna ask our guest a question. We're gonna do that for about 10 minutes, and then afterwards, they're gonna ask you, the chat, a question, and the first person to type the answer into chat is gonna win a game time code, courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. So thank you to everybody over at Square for providing those. So I guess we'll just get right into it. We'll get our fancy roulette wheel here, and we'll see which question we get first.
We're gonna go.
That is fancy.
We're gonna go.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
dang. I feel like I
Question
just hear
4.
a drum roll.
Frosty, what are you looking forward to in Endwalker?
Oh. Okay, small scale PvP.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Not a surprising
forward to
answer
that.
from you.
Yeah, because I want to see. Hopefully, there is a resurgence and interest in PvP in Final Fantasy XIV from a lot of people who aren't involved in it right now. Because the people who love it really love it, but there's so many people who are on the opposite side of the spectrum completely. And I'd like that to be just one big group of people where everybody's just happy. In
Well, and the
PvP.
hope too, right? Small scale, lower queues, then maybe get people interested into the bigger stuff. That would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Ab-
I mean, PvP is such a weird area in 14, right? Like, there's a group of people that really love it. It's not like there's anything about it that really, I think, doesn't work or isn't functional or anything like that. And yet, it does seem like one of the few facets in 14 that the community hasn't totally, like, connected with for various reasons. So, yeah, I hope that we get, like, a little bit of a revitalization.
Yeah.
I miss being able to type. I get why they took it away, but I hate it.
Hey, I'm used to it now. It doesn't, we just
Yeah.
spam "nice job" over and over again, and that's your communication, right?
I mean, it's
it's
you know,
okay.
supportive, right? Everybody thinks they're doing a good job, and
Yeah.
it's
Aw.
encouraging.
Totally.
I mean, it does have its
Just like
issues,
Rocket
right? That there are issues with small things, but it's not like a lot of other modes don't have their issues, and a lot of other things within the game and other games that people love. They all have issues, but you kind of get over a little bit, and they're not huge issues. They're not like issues that you're like, hey, if this isn't fixed, I can't enjoy the game, because obviously people are enjoying the game. It's just people latch onto that, and the mindset around it is so negative that they're like, why would I go into something where half the people tell me it's not good?
Yeah.
That's true.
A quick dovetail question off of that for you. What do you think this new mode might be? Do you have any anticipation or guesses?
Oh, I know it's going to be either 4 to 6 people, versus 4 to 6 people, versus another 4 to 6 people. I don't think it could be 8v8. So there's a good chance there's going to be an 8v8 capture the flag. I'm hoping
Ooh.
that's what it is, because I think that a lot of people would actually like
I'd be
that.
down for CTF.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's going to be it. They are being so quiet on it. It's so hard to figure out exactly what it is. But the information I have is it's going to be probably the same size of Feast, if not just a little bit bigger than that. So going off of that, and everybody saying Captured Flag is great, that would be my hopeful guess. Other than that, everything else, I have no clue. I can't even think.
I'm getting like hopeful, like Blood Gulch, like Halo flashbacks
Oh,
now,
yeah.
talking about CTF.
You know what I actually would like to see?
Hmm.
A system like the Guild Wars 2 World versus World. That's the first
Yeah.
and possibly only time I like really thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Rook is just
in
over there, just
PvP.
like preach.
It's
That would
so
be-
fun. I mean, I don't even really like. I like PvP if I can get a good team, right? For me, I really enjoy like team effort and like when everything comes together in that kind of sense. So I like PvP in that regard. But I've had so much fun in both ESO and Guild Wars 2 with those like large scale PvP zone, like vying for zone control and resource control. It's really neat and it tells a cool story as well.
I think it has
Yeah.
a nice combination of things you can do, because if you are one of those people who wants to be up on the front lines just like in somebody's face fighting, you can do that. But also if you're maybe a little bit nervous or you just prefer like subterfuge, you can just go around the back and do something useful over there while nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Rival Wings would be the closest that we kind of have to that, but it's not like a large scale, right? It's not like worlds versus each other. I think the frontline side is doing healthy. It's pretty healthy. People like queuing into it and getting their roulette done for the day. But I mean, there are a lot of people like the Revival Wings community does a lot. I think it's not. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Brian. It's not the Rival Wings community anymore. I have the name wrong because I know it's changed. But Rival Wings, I think, was their way to like say, hey, there's so many objectives, you can just go have fun with it, and it worked. But we of course had to get an awesome set of community members to bring it back, which is why it was the
Right.
Revival Wings. But
All right.
a lot of people like it.
Cool. All right.
Let's I'm here for it.
Let's give the wheel another spin here.
Sure.
We could sit here all day talking about PvP with Frosty.
Sorry,
on the show.
I
That's
Absolutely.
good.
I really
I got
like
like
that-
5
nothing
hours
wrong with
more of
that.
it.
Nothing wrong with that. All right. What is your favorite memory regarding Final Fantasy XIV?
Is this
Only one can't pick
Is this-
one.
It can be in game. It can be out of game.
I have to say one of my favorite ones. God, I don't even know anymore. Like, I guess my favorite memory. So you said in or out of game, either
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, either one.
One of my favorite memories, I think, was sounds pretentious as hell, but being on stage over at FanFest was definitely one
I
of
thought
them.
you might go that
And,
way.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like being able to do that in both North America and Paris. And I was so freaked out about that whole experience because I've never been on stage in front of people and like thousands of people and had to deal with that. But I went up there and at some point, and I was telling everybody, I was like, hey, you're going to cheer for me, right? You're going to give me, not be like dead silence. And so, we get up there. And Paris was fun too because Ethis was out there screaming, saying some really wonderful things in the background. But things would start happening, and then I'd start getting excited. My co-caster +1 was getting excited, and we're all going. And you hear the crowd go, and like it's hard to hear because the sound wasn't like perfect. But when you could hear it, you're like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
this is working. This is happening. I'm able to actually make this go. And went through the whole process, and in the end, it wasn't horrible.
It
Yeah,
wasn't-
and that's what all you
Yeah.
can hope for sometimes, that it wasn't it doesn't
Right.
go horribly.
Yeah, and so
It's
that was one of my
amazing
favorite
that-
memories.
It's amazing that
amazing.
this like community that you just jumped into because you thought you would have a little fun and like maybe put some of your own content out there. It's like, hey,
Right.
you did some cool stuff. Come here and
Yeah.
have this opportunity you'd probably never have any other time in your life.
Yeah, all from starting a stupid podcast that's somehow
It's
still
like, hey,
going, dude.
You
I don't.
want to go to Paris?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, let's. Maybe let me think on it. But yeah, no, it was pretty cool, and I've been able to work with some of the community members, and they're the Final Fantasy XIV community team members. They're amazing. All of them are amazing. And so besides that, just like I think the 1 year mark of doing Mog Talk was really big too, because I was like, I didn't know what the hell I'm trying not to cuss because I forgot if you guys are okay with that or not.
If one slips, it's not the
I
end of
didn't
the
know what
world.
the
Okay.
fuck I was doing. I was
Yeah.
just there, right? And so I was just like trying to make it work because I wanted to talk to people about Final Fantasy XIV, and somehow, I went a whole year and I was able to talk to a ton of amazing people. And I was at the end of a year of doing it, 50 episodes, and it's like, I've succeeded in something. Something was successful, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So,
I same boat, right? You start and you're like, okay, like if 10 people listen to it, that'd be cool. And then you like have more than 10 people listen to it, and then you get to milestone episodes, just like, all right, this went
is
better than I thought it
working.
would.
Especially when it comes to things like digital games, you know, and even thinking about FanFest and why it's such a huge thing, or like whether or not you're on the stage or you're like a part of it, or you're just somebody who's come to it, or you're watching it even, or like our digital
Yeah.
FanFest this year, you know, we're also used to sharing this digital space together in game, seeing each other's avatars. But then when you realize that like everybody from the creators to the players to the community team to the developers to everybody is a real person that has like contributed to this thing that you love and this community that you love. It is so like it's so moving and it's so overwhelming and so incredible to just see everybody or realize that we all kind of want to connect, whether it's through podcasts or anything else, over this thing that we love.
Yeah. It's
All right.
fantastic.
So that's gonna do it for our roulette wheel here.
Okay.
So now, Frosty, you have a question to ask our chat. So, chat, how this is gonna work? Frosty is gonna ask a question. The first person in chat that types out the answer is going to win a game time card, courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. We'll DM you the code. So, Frosty, take it away.
Yeah. So my question for everybody would be, of course, I'm going to give support to the PvP community.
Shocking.
Yeah. Who won the North American FanFest 2018 Feast Regional Championship? What team?
Spicy question. I don't know this one. Brian's probably in the chat like, and I've got it.
Yeah. Well, Brian was on stage on that, so it's kind of unfair for him because he knows who it is. He might.
I mean, whoever's the first one to type it in the chat, we'll give you guys a minute.
I mean, I see a blue team.
Blue team, I don't
Yeah.
think was correct. Brian's team, not incorrect, I suppose.
Two barracudas.
Oh
the
man,
silver monkeys.
I really want to watch like some Legends of the Hidden Temple now.
Yeah, it
You
might
could
be
probably
up to,
you could probably Google it.
Ooh,
it's Googleable. It's on a website somewhere.
you can
It's on
find
a
it.
website. Yeah,
I
I
like
knew it.
the-
I knew this would get so many people. I love it.
I was
Yeah.
looking
It's a
at
good one.
the questions ahead of time. I'm like, I don't know if anyone's gonna get this, but it is a good question.
Yeah,
Frosty is like single-handedly trying to like bring interest ahead of the new small-scale PvP mode, testing people on knowledge
Please.
about the PvP scene. I mean,
Regional for NA. Regional for NA. Yeah, and so
2018.
2018. There wasn't a 2020. It was the only
Blake's
one for
got
NA
it.
so far. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Synergy 6.
Synergy 6.
All right, keep an eye on your Twitter messages, Blake. We will get a game time code over to you.
Congrats,
So
man.
it's gonna be it. Frosty, before you head out, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at Frosty TV stream on Twitter or Frosty_TV on Twitch. But I don't really care about that. You guys watch this episode. 200 episodes is a huge feat. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I love all of you guys. I really do. And congratulations 100% on 200 episodes.
Thank you.
It's a lot of time talking. It's a lot of time talking and a lot of episodes. So it's a huge feat to be able to say you've done 200. How many have done 200 before? Usually people make podcasts that's over in like a couple of weeks, right?
Right.
So
I think
good job on
the
keeping it.
11 podcast we did like 400 something.
Oh my
But
God.
that was
gosh.
that was also like weekly for like almost forever. I don't know how we did it. All right. So thank you so much, Frosty, for making the time. We'll let you go and get ready for your show that starts in about 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
we'll let you go.
Enjoy. Good
Thank you
luck.
so much for joining us. And we'll bring on our next guest here and we'll be back in a minute.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good one. Have a good show.
All right. Hello, everybody. We are back with our second guest of the day. Be welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
Thank you for having me again. I was so excited for this again.
We were excited too. We were like, we have to invite her. We have to.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're just going to roll our question wheel here, and we'll get right into it here.
All right.
We've got question. It looks like 6.
His little feet are like moving between.
It's the same. We used this roulette wheel before, actually, when we did our stream, our anniversary stream last year. Which NPC are you tired of seeing, and how would they go out in Endwalker?
Oh my god.
I didn't know you put a which character would you kill question.
That's my
Should
question.
just ask you to
sorry.
murder somebody.
It could be like, I'm tired of Urianger, and he's gonna just go for a long walk on the beach into the distance, and he's fine, and we just don't see him again. It doesn't have to
That's
be
a
a
weird
death
question.
thing.
All right. So I love him, but I think Estinian needs to move on. Okay. It's about time for him to go. So maybe he can retire to Dragoon Spear. I don't know. Maybe he can change jobs and come back as a new job. I don't know. But I just feel like he's been here for a while, and we could use some new faces.
Okay.
I like the idea of
I
him
feel a
retiring
little
and becoming
attacked now.
something
I feel
else.
like this is what I get for throwing Urianger onto the beautiful sunset
Yeah.
beach.
You know,
But,
it wasn't personal because you're also a dragoon. It's just that Estinian's been around
Right?
for a long time. And he's a stinky man, so we just
Yeah.
probably need to get him out. And I love the idea of him
Okay.
being added as a new trust. And then Square Enix is like, JK, he's retiring. He's moving to the beach. Like, you
Wait,
can
I
take
didn't
him
even
if
know
you
that
want.
happened. Did they take him out? Oh my god,
No,
that's
no.
so funny.
They I think who are they replacing? They had to take somebody out, right?
Oh, they didn't take out Estinian. They took out someone else.
I don't think they took out anybody. They're just adding Estinian.
Yeah, they're just adding
Okay.
him, I think.
Oh.
I'm crazy.
Oh, okay,
never
okay, okay.
mind.
I misunderstood. I
Yeah.
got you.
I thought that they added Estinian because somebody else was like, he's
No, they're just giving us a melee
Oh.
job, and
like
because he's
Lise.
gonna be.
Lise,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
Yes.
Lise, yeah, technically they've kind of like moved her out of the spotlight. They're like, you
Oh,
have fun in
Reen.
Alamego.
Reen isn't a
Reen
trust
was,
anymore.
Oh.
That's
Thank you.
that's-
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. This is why
And
we
she's
do our
gonna be a
shows
melee?
live. Well, she was a melee,
Yeah.
so Estinian is a dragoon, so he'll be replacing her because she's
Estinian placing the little
she's
girl.
off on the first making really weird decisions.
Well, I'm here for the melee, so.
All right, let's go ahead and grab another question here.
All right.
Question. Oh, that's kind of one or two. It was kind of in the middle. I'll let you pick one or two.
2.
How did you get into creating content for Final Fantasy XIV?
Oh, this is interesting. So, I had a friend who I made just like randomly going to the gym, and he told me he streamed, and he was like, come play League with me, and blah blah blah. And he happened to be a streamer, and so I was on his stream, and everybody thought like, there was this voice that was gaming with him. They thought I was entertaining, so he was like, B, you should stream, and I was like, no, I'll be boring, whatever. Year later, I tried it out, and I ended up liking streaming, but I didn't start on Final Fantasy 14. I started as a League and a Fortnite streamer. Imagine that. And so, a couple months later, someone got me the game, and I eventually started playing it. And I'm a Final Fantasy 11 player, so I was like, oh, 14's easy. Like, I don't know about this game, and my brother was like, give it a chance. And so I gave it a chance, and maybe like 2 months later, I was addicted, and that's how I got into streaming 14 and becoming a Final Fantasy 14 content creator.
That's a good story.
Yeah, that's
From
amazing.
the gym, you would never expect that, right?
It was so unexpected for myself.
Yeah.
So
You
Yeah.
start
I'm
playing one
also-
game, and then all of a sudden you just turn and
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
playing something else.
I'm
I thought I
trying to
was gonna be
imagine.
this
Mhm.
world-class League streamer, so that didn't work out okay.
I mean, that's all right. I feel like the 14 community overall feels like maybe it's a more comfortable place than maybe League could be
Yes.
sometime. I mean, not everybody in League,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I
14
point
is
this-
definitely home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What a tactful way to say that.
yeah, just because not everybody in League, but sometimes in League it's a tense place to be.
Every once in a while.
Mhm. Tell me about it.
Although I do love the idea of tuning in to watch you and thinking about all of your content being themed around like Fortnite in particular really delights me. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be such a different alternate universe.
Oh my god, I love building. I didn't even shoot people. I just wanted to build.
See, I can't figure out the building. Like, I play other games like Apex, but when I get to Fortnite, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I just mash buttons and hope I don't die if somebody's shooting at me. That's my building
Same.
skills in Fortnite. Yeah. All right.
So,
Let's go ahead and give this wheel another spin here.
all right.
And question number 9. What is your favorite in-game furniture item?
Ooh.
Furniture. This is a good question. This might be the most random thing ever, but I'm into the Japanese aesthetic when it comes to the furniture. And I don't know the exact name, but I'm gonna do my best to describe it. It's like a barbecue pit grill. It's pink and it has a little brick hanging on top.
Yeah.
Yes. Every time I help create a house, like in Final Fantasy 14, I decorate a house, I have to have that pit in there and decorate it in some kind of way. So that's my favorite piece of furniture. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's because I like to eat, but I really love that piece of furniture. And the fact that it's pink just helps. Okay. So
I love it.
Yep.
That's
I
my
know.
favorite.
I'm trying to think. Like as soon as you said, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing.
Thing. Yep.
The thing.
It's like some kind of yeah.
I know that the thing.
Fire something.
Right.
Yeah.
There is like
I'll
a
go with that.
specific name. Is Iroiri? That's I'm trying to remember. That's like the actual name for it in Japan, but it is not
Oh.
named that in the game.
Mhm.
It's called like Hingen something. I
Yeah.
think.
Shet's
That's
saying
what I go with.
Hingen Fire Pit.
Hingen
That
Fire
Sounds
Pit.
right.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll go with that.
A couple people
Yeah.
are saying that, so that's probably a thing that exists. That might be it then.
Yeah. I mean, that one's so good too, though, because I feel like it just immediately makes any space feel like it's more of like a cozy space. Yeah, that like you know,
Yes.
share with other people and you'd hang out and you'd like roast something and you'd sit and chat. Like, I just love it. It has such a nice like energy.
Right.
It feels very comfy.
All right.
The bonfire type of vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The wheel says question 7. Why do you play the job or jobs that you do?
Oh, good question. These are really good
Excited for this
questions.
one, yeah.
So some of y'all who have known me for a while know that I started as a healer. And so at the end of the Stormblood, I ended up playing Monk. And I remember I was like, I'm going to try my first DPS. I'm going to be so bad. And everybody's like, B is the hardest melee. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so I ended up playing Monk. And I don't know, it just clicked with me. You know, some things just like click
Right.
instantly. Like it clicked. And me being a competitor most of my life, for y'all who don't know, I played volleyball competitively most of my life. I don't know. I don't know. I felt like it just fit my mentality to like be a melee and just try hard and stuff. So I don't know. I like punching things. The positionals just worked for me. Most people hate them. I don't know why. It was just like Monk is home for me. So I don't know. That's just it for me, bro. I love it.
I'm glad this
Mhm.
question came up because I always, anytime I'm like, how does Monk work? I'll tune into your stream and I'm like, okay, I kind of see it. You know, when you're re-clearing like
Various buttons
Eden
get
stuff like
pushed, damage happens.
I'm like, okay, that's what happens. Okay, that makes
You
sense.
punch and you kick. That's all
Yeah.
you need to know.
Kick,
How
kick
did you
punch, it's all in
feel-
the mind.
Yeah, kick punch. How did you feel about the changes with Monk? Have you liked them overall? Is there anything you think you might want to see
Oh,
going into
no.
Endwalker for a new thing?
Don't even get me started on these.
No,
got
do
one.
this.
Okay, so loved it in Stormblood and Shadowbringers. I wasn't the hugest fan, but when it first released, when Monk, we first saw the first iterations of it in Shadowbringers, I was like, okay, Monk is doing damage. I'm here for it. But I wasn't a big fan of Enactment. I'm pretty sure a lot of people wasn't a big fan of it. As far as the rework that happened a couple months ago, I think they made some good changes, but that was some changes, that we didn't ask for, like Riddle of Earth. And I was like, bro, we could have just kept this the way it was. But I think overall, I'm just disappointed that they didn't fix Enactment in a way that I personally feel like would be more useful, because it's just as useless as it was before. I mean, it's just as useless now as it was to me before. So going forward in 6.0, I think my biggest thing would be to make Enactment more useful or get rid of it. Secondly, I always talk about like it would be awesome if Monk had a reason to stance more, because we have 3 stances and we only really use 1 if we're being honest. So that's my biggest thing. I just really want us to have more reason to stance. I feel like it would make Monk more fun on top of having positionals.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I don't
fair.
even play Monk, but like kind of funny, Aldino saying that anytime I have questions about Monk, I think about you, because I absolutely do. And it's so interesting because I, back in Stormblood, I really enjoyed the kind of multitasking gameplay of Astrologian, and that's what I was sort of doing endgame content on. And I feel like Monk kind of falls into that category again, where that like performance ceiling, and especially before some of the changes or in certain periods, like it gives you so much room to really excel and learn little nuances that you're right, like adding stuff in, like actually having more of a purpose to go between the stances and those sorts of things, I think just like plays into that element that is so fun about Monk that'll make certain people like really shine with it.
Yeah, it's a very active class. It's a very active class. And I see where you're going with that with Astrologian. It's a pretty busy class, so I think I said this literally yesterday on my stream. I said Astro is like the healer version of Monk in the sense that it's just pretty busy. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, Monk is the job that I don't play because I would stop playing Summoner, and then we'd have to figure out the stat.
Monk is the job that, like, if I had infinite time, I would eventually like play a little bit, just because I have those kettles. I was one of those crazy people that put the time in to get those the kettle nexus things. So yeah, I mean,
you want to use them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have them, you have to use them. You have to get rid of Dragman and just play Monk permanently. Okay?
I mean, you said it, so you have to do it now.
Is that's how this works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Play no Monk.
She's our guest.
Oh, okay.
So you must do what I say when it comes to Monk, okay?
Okay. Just for you. All right, let's get the wheel with another spin here. And question number... No, we already did that one. You're repeating, wheel. Why would you do this to me? There we go.
Really want me to have that question.
Ask us a question.
Ooh. Okay.
Curveball.
All right, curveball. So is this the trivia question, or is this like a random
separate
question?
thing? Just some other unprepared question off the top of your head.
I feel like in general in Shadowbringers, most of us were disappointed with like the way they changed the jobs, more or less. And I'm wondering, which job have we felt the best about in 5.0?
Machinist. I mean, look, it was the one job that got completely reworked. It made me switch my main from Dragoon for this expansion. So yeah, I mean, hands down, Machinist.
Okay.
This
was. I hear a lot of people like Machinists.
We were so lucky that both me and Aldino got to go to the media tour, because he's over there like getting all the actions and writing down all the stuff, figuring out rotations, and I'm just over here like just playing Machinist. I'm like, this is great. You're getting everything that needs to be done, right? I got a robot and
I'm just gonna hit these buttons, okay?
Yeah. I mean, especially seeing like where Machinist was to where it ended up. You know, like the improvement on that one was so massive. Like mine was going to be, and again, I think just because of the improvement change, and that's not even to say that I think this is the most fun class to play. I really don't necessarily, but White Mage from like where it is now in Shadowbringers to where it was in Stormblood when they first introduced those gauges, and it was like every single functionality of the gauge was in complete opposition to what you would actually do if you were optimizing White Mage. I was like, this is so weird and it's so dissonant and it feels so bizarre. And then when we got into Shadowbringers, I think those changes actually like brought it in line with how you would want to be playing that class and like removed some of the limitations that made it kind of frustrating. So that one feels good to me, even if maybe it's not like my favorite class in the history within Final Fantasy XIV, you know?
I think there was a lot of issues with Stormblood where it's like, we have these things now called job gauges, and then they're like, okay, now we need to come up with a job gauge for every job.
See, I felt the same way too. I felt like they came up with a job gauge for everything, and I was like, do all of these jobs need gauges? Maybe not. Well, I'm just lazy. I didn't feel like doing math with gauges. That's why I don't play Warrior. It's like, look, I don't feel like adding how many points I'm gonna get when I hit this skill.
Numbers and adding. I don't know.
Right.
I couldn't do math either.
Yeah,
like, I hear you.
I saw somebody the other day say that they felt like it was a quote unquote golden age because all the jobs were really balanced. And I can't disagree with that, but I feel like they quote balanced a lot of jobs away from like a fun way to play them.
I agree 100%. They made some jobs so much more easier that I don't know, it kind of took the fun out of some jobs.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly that. Yeah.
They they kind of dumbed everything down a little bit, right? Made it a little easier.
Literally.
Tank stance stuff. I hate to double down. Get it? Because cards, Astrologian.
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
So
I mean, and like Dancer and Dancer. I'm not gonna lie to myself. Dancer is one of the easiest jobs to play. At least in terms of button hitting. Like sometimes it gets a little complicated with where you're standing, and range and stuff. for an actual like ranged character. You have to consider being in range. But other than that, it's pretty simple. And I pretty much almost completely forgot how to play Bard. And so I've been reteaching myself how to play Bard with our dragon runs we've been doing recently, and I'm like, this job is a lot harder. I'm kind of glad it's still harder, because once I started to get in the swing of it, I was like, oh no, this is actually kind of complicated fun crap.
I mean, but the thing
Pulling you
with
back
Bard
in.
is though that like it might, I guess, have more complications to it, but I don't really know if like the payoff is so good at this point, or that it like really feels like Bard to the point where, you know what I mean? It's so interesting, because I agree. Like I think that, like we were just saying, and B, like you said too, we're not in like a bad you know, like balance wise, things are good, but I feel like some of that like original intent of certain classes, the concept, the idea, the feel, the flair, and also some of the difficulty that made certain classes like a little more fun if you kind of just felt like you wanted to tackle that challenge. Like I can understand why they tried to even it out, but at the same time it kind of, I don't know, you lose some of the flavor of different classes, and it sort of like has these strange, I don't know, it just feels underwhelming a little bit with some of them now.
I will
Definitely
definitely
never.
say.
Go ahead.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that there's balance in the output, but there's not balance in how much skill it requires to get that output, and that's the thing that always gets me.
Right.
Like as a summoner, that's something that really gets me. Like, why is everything else so much easier? Or like a monk, or
The
you know,
monkey
Astro back in the day.
casters.
Definitely on Monk. Dude, and Monk is so easy now. People ask me every day in my streams, B, how are you playing Monk and read chat? Because it's easy now. It's like when in Stormblood, I could never read chat and play Monk because of how much, I guess, you know, you had to pay attention to what's going on. But it's like now I can literally AFK on Monk. Once you master the rotation, I can AFK and just read chat. So it's a gift and a curse.
All right, it's time for our second giveaway. And again, we're going to ask chat a question. First person in the chat to type in the answer will win some game time. So go ahead, take it away.
All right, my question is, you guys ready now? What is the name of Hildebrand's father?
Should be an easy one for you, chat. There we go. TSG James R.
Nice.
First on my list, Godbert. That is correct. We will keep an eye on your Twitch DMs there. We'll send you a whisper, and we'll get you that code. B, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. What's going on with you? What are you streaming? Where can people find you?
So, what's going on with me? I do a lot of in-game content. For people who do not know, I am a Monk main, if you haven't figured it out. I do play a lot of alt jobs, and my main focus is just helping newer players and helping newer players get into in-game content. So, you know, that's right up your alley. If you're looking to get into some rage, you can definitely find me at twitch.tv/Beyaca, and I'll type it in chat in case anybody cannot spell my name. But here it is, twitch.tv/Beyaca. There you guys go. Thank y'all so much for having me.
You can see the name though. The link thing gotcha, but
oh, sorry about that.
It's still there. It's fine. You're fine. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back with our next guest, everybody. So stay tuned.
Thanks so much, V.
Thank y'all for.
All right, and we're back with the one, the only Glenn Ángel. Glenn, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me, and congrats again on 200 episodes.
Thank
Thank you so
Thank you, thank you.
much. We're so glad to have you here celebrating with
Great.
us.
All right, so we're gonna get right into it here.
Just start.
Let's spin this wheel. Let's see what we get. Question number 7.
Ooh.
We just had this. Why do you play the jobs that you do?
Ooh, okay, yeah, I actually just saw B answer this question. So for me, when people ask me, Glenn, what job do you main? I say yes. Because
Oh.
I am so I'm the type of person that like after a while I just want to keep trying new things. So I essentially play almost every single job, not to the same level, but like you'll see I got everybody to like level 80 before like patch 5.2 just because I
Wow.
enjoyed every single job so much. But for me personally, the ones that I get into like end game content with are the very busy jobs. So like Astro, like Monk, Ninja, Dark Knight. Like there's something, I think it might be my ADHD, but like it's always constantly pressing those buttons is what actually keeps my brain engaged. This is no hate to the white mage mains, but I don't think I could do prog on white mage and just hit glare.
Rook that is a face. What in the world? You have some thoughts on that?
Wow. No, it's okay. I was just so excited because I love Glenn so much and your answer is wonderful, just like you are. But I wasn't expecting to get personally called
Yeah.
out in attacks today on this, our 200th episode. But it's okay. I mean, yeah, I do press a lot of glare. And so you know what, Glenn, sometimes I do a Medica too. So
There's a lot of
Sometimes,
glare going
you
on
know.
right now, I think.
And here's the thing.
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
please look forward to Rook's Eye Twit Longer coming later
Yeah.
today.
yeah, I'll have a hot take later, so don't worry about it.
But I definitely agree. Like I love the busier jobs too. To me, it's like making that map of the encounter and what I gotta do. And when it's a busy job, there's like, okay, I can fit this in between there. Oh, this happened, I gotta do this. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, big same though. Like, Astrologian, Stormblood, probably, even though I don't think the changes were bad, right? Like, I think there are reasons that they made the changes, but that was probably my favorite class in the game. I ended up actually going white mage, jokes aside, because, well, I mean, one, I like the actual kind of, I think the classic history of the class, but I also just had a co-healer we had an astrologian and then a scholar. So I got put in the white mage jail and I learned how to make a garden full of blood. And it was really enjoyable, all the blood lilies that I harvested from the wounds of my allies. But no, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's fun to have those busy classes.
You know, we love a garden that's rich in iron.
That's right.
There you go.
So Glenn, if you had to pick one, like let's say you had to. You
Astro.
had to pick one. Okay.
Astro.
Wow, that was quick.
So for me, I mean, come on, I even have like the cards that they came in from
Oh,
Loot Crate.
awesome.
Like I have everything. Like I love this job so much. When I first started playing, so I started playing the game like right before Shadowbringers came out. So like it was right before the final patch of Stormblood, and I remember I was on Bard and I was working so hard to get through a Roamborn just to get Astro because I'm like I want to heal, I want to get those cards, and I even like went online and I looked up and I studied what the cards did
Oh,
for them just to be changed about 2 months
Right.
later. But I got to do like maybe like 5 levels of dungeons before Shadowbringers came out. But I love it so much, especially even now. I'm not a fan that the cards are basically all the same thing. Like it's like I'm like I don't have to think about who I'm giving it to. But again, with the busy stuff, so I play on controller, and on the balance Discord, there's someone that made a guide of how to like macro everything, so you don't have to like keep constantly match the D-pad. So if you look at gameplay of like Astro controller players with that macro, it's like we're playing piano because like
Yeah.
we're pressing buttons and then people are just getting cards, and I love it so much.
It's funny. I've actually been playing a little bit of Astro myself. I've been kind of just dabbling in some tank stuff, some healer stuff, just do something different, right? As we wait for Endwalker. And I haven't memorized all the which card goes to who yet, but I have actually put it right there next to my party list, so I can be like, okay, this goes to you. Just make it nice and easy.
If it helps, so the cards actually if you have the normal, not the simplified
Right.
gauge, if it's purple, it goes to a ranged character. If it's like green blue, it goes to a melee character.
Ah,
Or
Yep.
just give them all to me.
pro tip right there. And now I know.
which I never knew until someone said it like months later after I memorized the new way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love memorizing the old card, like everything that they did, and like having. It makes my brain go like just
Yes,
happy.
Right.
it's the sparkle feeling. The sparkle feeling in your brain.
Sparkle feeling.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, this one gives skill speed. Who needs the skill speed? Okay, Dragoon, let's give it to them. They just did that. Okay, I can Royal Road this. I can do this. Okay, we have the balance. Let's do that.
I used to miss the other types too because it was like I could burn this card and everybody could have AoE except my healing partner needs MP. So here you go, buddy. Have some MP. And I just love the little extra stuff.
I
Yeah.
remember.
Astro
I
is the
remember
beginning of
mechanics and
Shadowbringers.
skills that gave people MP.
Yes. I just
Cries and
like we were talking about
Rook
earlier,
Bishop
they
turret.
simplified everything, and I think Astro really suffered for it because it was
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah.
before.
And
And
I never
yeah.
really got to like experience that because I started so late. And I look back, I'm like, oh, now I wish I had this.
I'm just hoping
Do
they
you-
change it back. There have already been instances of them changing jobs back, like Bard. Remember Caster Bard? I don't. It's
Yeah.
out of my head because we don't have that anymore, and I don't want to see it ever again.
Correct.
True.
Correct.
Glenn, so when we did the other question, we followed up with B about if there was like something you could change or see built upon for Astro in, Endwalker, what would you do? Would it be something like reverting the cards to all do different things, or would it be something totally different?
So I was thinking about this for a while, and I don't know, like, from a gameplay developer standpoint, how it would be, but, like, what if the cards still all gave damage, but, like, it was much lower, like, 2%, 3%? So that way there's no, like, better card, but then they had a secondary one, and the divination still worked the same, where you have to, like, pick 3 cards to make it so it was activated, but there would also be, like, the Royal Road effect, where the last card that you played, that effect is the AoE. So there's still like an instance of you having to think about what you're doing, but it's like a lot freer because doing E12S Part 2 or Part 1 where you actually do need to GCD heal, and every single time before Shiva Junction where you're about to get divination off, here looking and fishing for that third seal never happened, and I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna have 5%, not 6%. You need to be healed.
All right, let's go ahead and get at least one more question in here. We talked a lot about Astrologian today.
We did.
Was not
Listen,
expecting
It's
that.
fun.
Many of us are passionate about Astro.
Yeah. So question 6, we're getting it's not the death question. I just want to be clear.
Okay.
What NPC are you tired of seeing? And if they go out in Endwalker, how would they do it?
Oh my god, when I saw this question, I'm like, how will I answer this? How am I gonna answer this? Let's see, NPCs. Well, I mean, the first one, and this is kind of easy. I'm getting sick of seeing Asahi's face.
Yes.
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 I
Yes.
cannot stand, even if it's Fandaniel, I don't care. Asahi, don't like him. So I was thinking, what if, funny enough, I actually, this might get me canceled, but I went and played a little bit of World of Warcraft again.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fine.
shut down the
What
cast.
do you want?
Ooh. All
What
right.
do you
Well,
want?
all right. That's it, everybody. Thanks for coming out,
Enjoy your
Glenn.
life.
And we're going to go ahead, grab.
Enjoy what you enjoy. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
There's going to be a twit longer about me from multiple people now. So, and there's a scene where Varen Rin dies in a very violent way, where essentially Gul'dan has this big fiery green fireball and like puts it into Varen's body, and he just like erupts. So
Yeah.
if Asahi can have that, but like times 10, I love that.
Yeah. I love
My
it.
friend
I
asked
like
me
it.
to go to sushi with her the other day, and she said the restaurant we were going to was Asahi, and I was like, we can't go to that. Can we pick a different one, please?
We can't do that. You don't need a reason. Let's just not go.
Let's just not do it. I'll be thinking about it the whole time. It will make all the food taste bad. So I would prefer not
There
to
you
go
go.
there.
All right. I think we can squeeze one more in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Question number 5. What do you think the new 6.1 story arc is going to be?
Oh my
Mm.
god, you're really asking those really tough questions. I would like it if we can explore the new world.
Mm.
I don't know, is Thavnir considered part of the new world? Or is
No,
it just like
New World
the-
is out west.
Okay, so it's like the Near East, right? That's
Yeah.
what Thavnir is?
I think
So
so.
I know Blue Mages, because I love Blue Mage, comes from the new world. So if we can have a story about that, I would like that. Thank you,
Right.
GP. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean
It'd be
that's
good.
I think there's definitely some room there, but it's also like if it's 6.1, typically, right, you think a new story arc, you think an expansion, you think new areas, but I don't think they're just going to be like, hey, 6.1, here's a bunch of new areas. you know, we're gonna have to
True.
build up
I
to
mean,
that. So I'll
they
be
might
really
give us a
curious
turn
to
clip.
see. Yeah,
That's true.
that's very true.
Don't burst his bubble.
Yeah, like
They did
the
some really
first-
cool stuff with smaller areas in
Mhm.
Shadowbringers.
Ooh,
It's true.
maybe if we can talk more about the Void.
Yeah,
6.1.
yeah.
Also something.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah,
just
but
do
like-
New World and then halfway through go to the Void.
Thank you.
I mean,
At
I
least
think
in
this
Reaper
too.
Quest,
And
we're
then
gonna have to get
also
something.
Miracidia, and then also there's
you
so
gotta, you gotta
many
think big. You gotta
Yeah.
think
so
big
many
and then
great
like bring it down.
possibilities. All right. So
If
that
not,
is.
if not next expansion, definitely next time.
Oh, we'll get
Yeah.
it. Yeah, at some point, right? They gotta go
It
there.
has to happen.
All right, Glenn, you have a question for our chat. Once again, chat, the first person to answer the question in chat will win a game time code courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. So, Glenn, take it away.
So, are y'all ready? My question is, what did Gaia promise Mitron she would keep before they departed?
She would keep she would keep loving Reen and forget all about him. Was that the answer?
I was,
You
was
can't
not...
Rook, you did not type that into the chat.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Oh, there it is.
Excuse me.
Final Turk Diary.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Good one.
That is it. All right. Turk will send you a Twitch whisper here with your game code. Thank you very much. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. Where can people find you? What do you have going on?
Hello, everybody. I also am on the Twitch, but I'm also on Twitter and on YouTube. My ats on Twitter are Hello Glenn Angel, Glenn with 2 N's, and Angel is spelled just like Angel. You see it right here. I am, not only do I play 14, but I also play a lot of other MMOs, but I also do some comedy sketch videos about video games. So you can see that. I'm actually going to come up with one soon. It's in the works. And you may have seen some videos like Final Fantasy 14 jobs getting coffee, Final Fantasy jobs in telenovelas, Final Fantasy jobs doing other things I can't think of.
We
them,
have,
but it's
you did a video for us too with FanFest reactions.
Yeah.
A
So
beautiful,
that's-
wonderful
yeah,
edit.
that's
Thank you
over
very
on the
much.
Twitter. Go back a couple months, you'll find it. It
Yeah.
was, oh my god, it was so good. It
But
really was.
I also want to bring attention. So let me just get their name before I mess it up. Oh frick. So Sky Namikaze on Twitter and YouTube recently made a video where it was a compilation of BIPOC Final Fantasy 14 creators that was in the style of like Super Smash Brothers. It is hilarious.
that's
It's
awesome.
wonderful. And I really suggest everyone to check it out and diversify your spaces because we are visible, we're here, and it is wonderful seeing people like us creating content.
Yes. Hell yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, Glenn, thank you so much. We will be right back with our
We love
next guest. So stick around and we'll be back in a sec.
Bye.
All right, we are back with Aniero, one of the founding members of Aetheryte Radio.
Yes.
It's funny we're putting all this effort into this 200th episode. Next month is 12 years.
Oh my god.
Can you believe 12 years?
You know, I can. It feels like 12 years. I feel like I have all 12 written on my face.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I love in the chat, Glenn says, by the 12.
Oh,
Fantastic.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's been crazy. So I don't know what we're gonna do for that, but I guess stay tuned. So let's go
Hey,
ahead
it's
here.
just big episode after big episode.
Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's give this question wheel a spin here and get this going. Question number 5. We just had this with Glenn. What do you think the new 6.1 story arc will be?
You know, I've got to be completely honest. Ever since FanFest, I've kept myself totally in the dark for, like I haven't even done the benchmark because I heard that there's like new zones that you see in there, and I really don't want to develop too much of an opinion. I had a really sort of like amazing blank slate moment going into Shadowbringers because after Stormblood, I was just so burnt out that everything FF14 fell off my radar.
Well, see, you were around for 1.0, so you know what overhyping yourself can do.
Absolutely, and I also feel like I have a pretty good idea of like when I need to back away from something when when I've burnt out on something, and I definitely needed to do that after Stormblood. And so coming back to Shadowbringers was really refreshing because all of the story content was so good. And I was prepared not to like it too. Like I was totally prepared. Based on how much I didn't like Stormblood, the fact that I thought like going to the first was like a punt, that they weren't going to advance the
I felt the same way. I felt the exact same way.
I was like, dude, that's such a cheap narrative device. I hate it. And then once it started going, I mean, everyone knows, the amazing revelations that we got in there. I couldn't help but absolutely love it. So I've really tried to in the months leading up to Endwalker, I've tried to wipe myself clean of an opinion, so I can kind of go into that with a blank slate as well. I'm just excited to see the conclusion of this now, huge story arc.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It's funny because I did the benchmark for this one, but I actually didn't do the benchmark for Shadowbringers because of like exactly what you were saying, where I was just going, I really want to go in and have a fresh experience. I want this to be something where like I have no other preconceived notions about it. I really just want to get into it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even the trailers and things, I can feel like it'll give me just too much of a peek at something, and I want to just kind of keep it sort of like sacred.
Absolutely. In in prepping for a show to talk about, FanFest, you kind of got to dig deep on things and come up with an opinion about stuff and be ready to talk about things that, you may not want to personally know yet. So, while I'm kind of not doing not doing tons of FF14 content, I definitely want to be as blank as possible.
You guys are stronger than I am. They're like, hey, here might be a slight possible maybe peek at something, and I'm like, gimme.
Yeah,
it's hard. I go
found-
back and forth depending on like what kind of mood I'm in. I'm like, no, I won't look at it, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, just a peek.
But for me personally, somehow, expansion after expansion, it still doesn't ruin anything for me. So I maybe I like am able to keep myself calm on the inside while my outsides are screaming about how excited I am. I don't know.
See, I was just looking at the benchmark for all the job actions. I'm just like going frame by frame, and I'm like, that's a summoner gap closer. What is happening? I don't know what that means.
Machinist is getting a shotgun. All right.
I have no idea what's happening. That's what I want to see. Like story,
Dancer sure
I know
did
it's
a
gonna
dance.
be great.
Didn't see that coming.
It was turquoise though, and I like that color.
I mean, Aldino, I do need to know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how excited were you by Summoner Gap Closer?
It was about a 5, and then I noticed Ifrit was still there, and then I was well, that's like a 3.
No, I mean, it is funny. This time around, I definitely went into, I did the benchmark. I mean, Bunny Boys were in it, so I had to do it. And, I think I've seen everything. And it's funny because then I think you're right. I don't think it'll ruin anything by any means, but I totally understand and respect the answer about like maybe not even wanting to think ahead to 6.0 because things got changed so radically for us, even in Endwalker, right? Yeah. Like in Shadowbringers, even in Shadowbringers, let alone in Endwalker. So we could totally have something coming that we don't even know about yet, but that could easily be the next big thing.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and pick out another question here. We're gonna go with question number 12. What is your favorite memory regarding 14? This can be in game or out of game.
Ooh. You know, I actually thought a little bit about this because I feel like an obvious answer would be you know, the after parties that we threw at FanFest, because those were all a really good time. But if I got to go with my heart, it's got to be the end of an era trailer that we got at the end of 1.0.
Yeah.
That may be one of the most impactful you know, scenes in all of video games, really. Like to me, if you were there, if you experienced 1.0 and you saw that video the night the servers went down, there's no way you couldn't feel something like
Emotions were had that night.
Absolutely. And to me, that was one of the most powerful and moving things in a video game ever. And so while I have to give a special shout out to the you know, the FanFest after parties for meeting so many listeners and FF14 fans and getting to hang out with all of you, I really think that specific cutscene is like game changing in terms of video games.
And it was really interesting too, because with Answers backing it up, we'd heard Answers at that point. And not that it's not a bad track, right? But it goes all over the place, right? And so without any real context to it, you're just kind of like, all right, like, what is this? But then you have End of an Era and they have it and everything syncs up and it's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing 1.0 because I played it during the very beginning, and the fatigue system made me so upset. As someone who's in the industry, I'm like, how did you even think that this was a good idea? Anyway, right. And so I kind of bounced off. You know, I got it for my girlfriend. You know, Zen and I have been friends for forever. I actually was over at Zen's house that night that the servers went down, because she was playing, my girlfriend was playing, and I got to see it kind of secondhand. But even then, like with the music, even I was like, holy crap, this is something amazing. And I haven't played it for like a year at that point.
And I are sobbing. He's just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, that's such a bold move to do. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually have a screenshot. Like when the trailer's over and it's like the little like login thingamabob, can't remember the name of it right now, comes up and it's like, you know,
connection lost or whatever, connection to server.
And when you try and log in and it's like the game's not here anymore, I just have like a screenshot of that, because even like seeing that, especially after the trailer, was very profound to me for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, like, I think Fusion, you would probably have an appreciation for this, but how much personal investment I had in the world of Eorzea at that point, because, you know, we had started Aetheryte Radio, and you know, we had the wiki on top of it and everything, and so everyone was combing through all of this information all the time. And even though it was a fairly empty world, like, there was still a lot of it that I had a lot of, you know, deep love and passion for. And you know, to watch it, you know, get destroyed before your eyes was just, it was insane. I couldn't believe what Square Enix, as a development team and as you know, someone who was running this game, I couldn't believe what they were doing. It was truly amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I always love telling the story. It was such a weird time for us as a website too, because obviously if the game's not operating, people aren't coming to get that information. And so I remember like that year at E3, me and our editor-in-chief Gahu, where it's like, okay, so it's lunchtime. We have a decision to make. We can either keep the site running for another month or go get something to eat. And I just looked at him. I'm like, I'm kind of hungry.
Hey man, those food trucks ain't cheap at E3.
No, not at all.
No, they're not. I mean, even being somebody, because I actually didn't play 1.0, so I, you know, came in Heavensward, and being somebody who, if you've come into the game later, right, you may not even realize the full scope of that. Maybe you've seen that trailer that, you know, everybody here is referencing. Maybe you've heard little bits and pieces. but I don't think it really clicked for me until I watched the No Clip documentary and the Speakers of Heidelin documentaries.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the at videos that people had captured and put on YouTube of the day that the 1.0 servers went down in Final Fantasy XIV. And then to realize that in a genre of games like MMOs, where the cost risk investment is massive and so many games are shut down before they are even launched because of it, just how much it costs to do these kinds of ongoing MMOs and have the servers and everything. For a company to say, like, we believe in the vision of this game so strongly, we believe in our players and owing something to them that's quality from this company, we believe in creating a journey for them that's not just like, oops, we messed up, here's a relaunch, I guess, but that instead rolls you into the ongoing narrative of the world in a way that is unprecedented in any other game. I mean, like, no other company has really tried to do this, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it's so cool. If like you're somebody who like me joined later and you haven't checked that out, do watch it. I mean, it's really incredible.
There also might be, I know I streamed it. I assume I saved it on this channel. Actually, there might be some like final nights of 1.0 stuff. I can't remember if it's one of those things like, yeah, I might have saved it after I clipped it or whatever. So go back, go way back in the channel history. Find me young and before I was old.
You ain't old.
Before you were this old man here on the cast club.
All right, so that's that time flew by real fast for us here.
Yeah, I know.
Nate, you have a question for the chat again.
I do.
First person in the chat to get this right will win a game time code courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. So take it away.
All right. So this name of the name of this unused dungeon, this 1.0 dungeon, later appeared in Heavensward as a location in the Sea of Clouds. What is it?
We were just talking about Speakers of Heidelin. They did the video of this.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I gotta say, Speakers has some of the most fascinating YouTube content. Shout out to them. I really enjoy watching their Remnants of a Realm and stuff like that.
It's crazy how much stuff they didn't use. A couple answers in chat not correct.
Ooh.
So it's
they're good guesses. I gotta say, they're really good guesses.
They actually really are.
It's a little tricky. It's basically a landmark in the Sea of Clouds. It's not an actual dungeon.
No,
it was going to be a dungeon in 1.0, but they never used it. But it is now, if you look at your map in game, there's a little dot.
My favorite answer so far: the fort something something.
The fort something something.
Like the fort that's there that does stuff. That one.
The Fortnite.
No.
Oh, come on. This can't stump everyone. This was a running joke on LBR for years.
Yeah.
I mean, Google is your friend. When all else fails, you got to go for it.
I put on...
Makoto's got it.
We have a winner.
Yes, there we go.
Hangar's Crucible.
Yeah.
Makoto, we will go ahead and Twitch whisper you over your game time code.
And listen, I'm still convinced that the entire plot of 1.0 to the end of 6.0, it hinges on Hangar's Crucible. Mark my words.
I mean, it's a really good name. If I'm gonna be
really
real,
is.
like I'd be very into a dungeon named
6.0 is gonna go
Crucible.
out, and it's gonna take us over to Hangar's Crucible. We're just being like, he was right the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time he was right.
See?
All right, Nate, what do you have going on? Where can people find you?
You can find me streaming Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays over at twitch.tv/limitbreakradio. We are still keeping the channel warm. There is currently a Patreon campaign to relaunch the show. You can check that out over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. Also, to get the archives back online. And I am proud to announce that we will be getting the archives back online before the end of July. So if you have been looking for those old episodes and can't find them anywhere, you'll be able to find them very shortly over at limitbreakradio.com.
Awesome. Nate, thanks so much for joining us. Of course, we couldn't do a big episode like this without you. So we're glad to have you back and catch up a little bit.
Thank you for having me. Congratulations on 200 episodes and almost 12 years at this point. you guys have been a constant through the FF14 community, and I can't imagine that this community, would be the same without you guys. So thank you for all you do in keeping the site up to date and the information up to date, and just keep rocking.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
man.
right, we will be back in a minute here with our next guest. So hang tight, and we'll be back in a sec. And we're back. I forgot to hit the unmute button, but now we're back. We've got Sly joining us. Sly, welcome back. Always great to have you on.
Yes.
Hey, Sly!
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Happy once again belated birthday as well. I
Yes.
feel like we have to just
Aw.
celebrate your birthday 3/4 of the year, and
Yeah.
then that one last quarter doesn't matter.
No, it's a lot of work.
Oh.
I can only imagine the amount of work that goes into that stuff behind the scenes. It's
Right.
just it's insane.
Oh my god, it's so worth it though. Honestly, it's so worth it. It's like for doing the invites, the invite videos, the trailers.
Oh gosh,
the
yeah,
everything
I had
stuff.
forgotten about that for this year too. That was just
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
absolutely insane. Shout out to everybody over at Allure that helps
Yes.
put that stuff together.
Yes.
So let's go ahead. We'll just get right into it here with the questions. Give the wheel a spin here. And question number 2, Sly, how did you get into creating content for Final Fantasy XIV?
I feel like we've
I
asked you this question
started.
before.
I mean, it may be, but the wheel has dictated that we ask
Yeah,
it
the wheel said-
again. We must obey the
I
wheel.
guess it was. I just started playing. That was it. It was just that simple. I did the beta for A Realm Reborn on PS4, and then like I really got into it, so much so that it became a constant, a daily thing in terms of stream. And then in terms of like the podcast, State of the Realm, I met Mike for the first time at the first Fan Fest, and after that, he kind of hit me up and was like, Sly, I'm planning this podcast, and you want to give it a shot? I'm like, yeah. And ever since then, the rest has been history. So I'm still here, still doing 14 content, and then the podcast, and then a whole bunch of other stuff because I hate myself.
No.
Oh, give yourself a
No.
little. I'll pull up Twitch. Me and the wife will just be sitting on the couch. Let's see who's live. Sly is just like watching episodes of like Carmen Sandiego. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Sure. Yelling at the
I
dumb
love it.
kids that can't know where certain countries are at the end of the
Yeah.
episodes, and it's great.
Yeah,
It's
because
fantastic.
apparently they don't teach geography anymore. Apparently.
We don't
And
have
by
a new
anymore,
version of
we
Where in the
mean
World's
we
Gone
mean
San
like
Diego.
15, 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, none of us can do math, especially not in video games,
true.
and we don't know where
Yeah.
stuff is. So
Concentrate 7 told us that.
Right.
What's the prime number?
Yeah, I love just, I don't get a lot of time to watch Twitch, but if you're on, I'll just wander in. And it's always so much fun. It's Shin Megami Tensei, it's, watching Gundam, it could be anything.
I loved, my gosh, your DJ nights.
Yeah.
I had never even,
Yes.
this is not even a joke. I know that back in, was it 11 or maybe 14? I know that people used to do stuff where like you would almost have like radio stations or people would just like be DJing something. And that had never even crossed my mind that like, you'd put together a party and you'd DJ or you would do something like that with a game. And then when I saw on your channel that you did these DJ nights, it was like a revelation, which feels really ridiculous to me because I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I love listening to music while I play these games or like having these club nights. And oh my gosh, you always pick such jams. I just put them on for raid nights in any game. I'll just listen.
we actually used to have back in the 11 days. I don't know if this was still running when 14 had come out, but we had a shoutcast station. Actually, Nate set it up. And
wow.
Yeah, we would run all the different 11 podcasts on there. We would run some remixes and stuff. And yeah, that was a thing for a little bit. We even had some sound bits like Yasu Kurosawa was like, "You're listening to Radio XI." Like, it only lasted maybe a year or two. But yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing that existed.
Yeah, I actually started doing it like well, WSOI was a thing. It was just like a way back in the days when I was really playing Dauntless. It was just like we were waiting on a patch and it was, I think, like 3 hours overdue. And I just put on some music in the time that we were waiting on the patch, and everybody was like, "Where's the patch?" I'm like, "We're still waiting, but I'm just playing some music." And that's originally how WSOI started.
I love that.
Started doing the live nights. I got that idea from Allure after I decided to throw a birthday party, and it was like a month after that. And like, I should probably make this a thing because it's COVID. People don't have anywhere to go. I mean, don't be around people. Just be around people in a game and listen to music.
I will say, I think that's one of the things I love the most about your stream. Like, even if you're not playing a game, you're just kind of hanging out. It's a place to hang out, and I think that's something that a lot of people need that right now. So thank you for providing that space for people.
Oh, most definitely.
Let's go ahead, give this wheel another spin here. The time just goes by so fast.
I know, right?
Fusion's over here, just like I can see you just like sweating, like I want to listen to every single thing that Sly is saying, and we also have to answer the question.
But also it would be cool if we could stay on schedule. But also I just want to talk forever. Sly, what is your favorite in-game furniture item?
The bar.
Oh.
The bar. Which
Surprising
bar?
no one.
Which bar?
Yeah.
There are multiple.
The most recent, the newest back bar.
The little wine rack thing.
Not even the wine. There's a smaller one, which that's good too. I think really they go hand in hand, honestly. But it's like the back bar. It's like a
Oh, that's right. It's like a big cupboard.
Oh,
That's
the-
right.
the-
I was thinking of like the little thing with
all
like
the
the
bottles.
glasses. I forgot they added the
Got it.
cupboard. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Surprising to no one. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That was a quick question. Let's go
spin again.
ahead. The short ones are great.
Well, the
yeah.
question, just say.
Question number 10. We haven't had this one yet. When answering dialogue choices in 14, do you answer as yourself or do you answer as your character?
Half and half, honestly, because like there are when you get those choices, there are like the serious choices, and then the one kind of I like to call it the asshole choice.
Yeah.
And one where it's like it seems a little bit out of character, but it seems
But that's the
more
one
like
you want to pick just
all-
because.
Yeah, because I feel like I would actually say that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of half and half. It depends on the situation. In like a not serious situation, I would definitely pick the out of character one more so than the serious ones.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's just, I'll answer what I feel like is appropriate, but then sometimes you just get some really out there ones. You're like, I can't not pick this.
See
Or
what
if,
happens.
if
Right.
if me and the wife are playing like together on the couch, right? We'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna pick this one. You can pick another one. We'll see if the what comes back is any different. But you can't say no to some of those.
One of the, I don't know, weirdest, most satisfying moments, and also it was terrible and it was sad at the same time. So this is a very complex moment that occurred. Was when I had spent the time pre Shadowbringers to do all of the Crystal Tower raids. I'd already done them, but I was like, they were all there. I made sure I'd done all the stuff that I was told to do, and my partner and I are sitting down next to each other and we're playing through Shadowbringers. And there's that point where there's the big moment. And if at that point, and I think they've changed it since then, but at that point, if you hadn't done the Crystal Tower raids, you got different dialogue that was far less impactful. But if you had, it was like the most emotional reunion ever.
It was
and my
the
partner's
bit where you say like, it's nice to see you, Graha. Yeah, and then you get the tears and the stuff. It is required
my partner
now,
was just like, was just staring at me like, what do you mean? I thought he didn't need to do them. And I was like, I told you 10 times you needed to do that.
Right.
And I like picked all the good dialogue options afterwards that I had gotten from it. It was a rare moment. Usually it's more just the funny division, but that was a special one.
Right.
Thank God for New Game Plus. I mean,
Right.
I would actually want to relive it. Yeah.
Yep. Let's go ahead. We'll squeeze. I think we got time for one more here. Question number 6. I like that this one keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Which NPC are you tired of seeing, and how would they go out in Endwalker?
Which NPC am I tired of seeing?
They could just go on vacation. They could have a brutal death.
Wow.
Which
I
drop?
Whatever. Again, it's not the death question. They don't have to die, but they could.
Yeah.
I mean, but the fact that you actually gave that option, holy hell.
When I read this question, I was like, this is from Fusion, and he's focusing it on Urianger because he wants him to die.
I don't want everybody to say
Right.
Urianger,
Right.
but I wouldn't disagree with you if you did.
Yeah. I think this is my question. I think it was.
I think it
Was
is.
it your question?
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not my fault.
I kind of feel like
Blaine.
I kind of feel like we need Urianger, even though his speech is so horrible. But we need him. We need him for the lore and the science. Who we don't need. That's a tough one. That's tough. God, put me on the spot with this one. I can't.
I'm like hanging off of every word. Like, come on. Let it be somebody that we can. Let it be somebody that we have some sort of divisive opinion on that we need now validation for. I mean, they could also just retire and open up a club and become a DJ as well. You could give them a more enjoyable alternate route.
God, this is tough. Man, I really can't think because I kind of like
them all, right?
It's not that I like them all. It's just like in terms of NPCs, they're a necessary evil, and I'm like, well, I'll talk to you and then probably never see you again. Great, bye, thanks.
I mean, there's Fandaniel, there's Xenos.
Yeah, our answers so far, we got Asahi, we got
Estinian.
Oh,
Estinian.
If we're talking about if we're going that far, sure. Asahi, Fandaniel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, there we go.
Absolutely.
Get Fanny
No
Pack out.
redemption. I don't want a redemption arc. I just kill him, please.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like Emmett Selk had kind of a redemption, like a slight minute or few seconds of redemption once we finished it. A little bit same thing. Fandaniel, no. Like,
well, and I had the same feelings that you guys did when you did your reaction to the Endwalker trailer with Ethis, where it's like, oh, let's kill Fandaniel in 5.5, and then we don't have to deal with him, and then he walks out in the trailer, and we're just like, damn it. Yep.
Oh,
all right. Sly has a question for all of you in chat. Again, first one to answer it in the chat will win a game time code courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. So Sly, take it away with your question.
Yeah, I had to channel my inner Ethos with this one because he always like that. He kind of likes to ask questions about weapons. So What was the name of the weapon used by Grinwat in Doma Castle?
Oh, this one's so good. This one's so good.
I wonder if he got it for one of his name days that all came at once.
Yeah.
Well, it had to be one of his name days because he only got one.
Oh.
Right.
Grindwat is one of the most, I think, tragic figures that you won't even
Yeah.
realize is tragic until like you
Mhm.
start thinking more and digging more in depth about him.
Ooh,
I
chat
like
chat
Bangy
was
Hammer.
close. I don't think it's Bangy Hammer though.
No, it's definitely Banging Hammer.
They just want that gun hammer, you know?
I mean, I can't blame him.
Hmm.
So it has an actual name. Chainsaw Sword is
There is an
not
actual-
it.
I mean, that's what it looks like. Yes.
That is
Yeah,
what that
you're
is
right.
is in
That's what it
theory
sounds
what it
like,
is,
too.
but it has
Yeah.
a name. It's not what
believe you
the
can all do
weapon
this.
physically is. It is the name of the weapon. Rip and tear.
That's actually a very good guess. That one is
Good name.
actually
That is a good name for it.
it's a good name for it. We go together, TM.
Die, die, die.
Die. These are all good guesses.
These
These
are
are
all
all
very good
fantastic.
guesses.
It's not
I mean-
Lollipop Chainsaw.
No, I have a feeling it's got to be somewhere on Gamerscape. It's got to be
Might be.
somewhere on one of the.
That is a website.
It
There's
might
a
be.
website one
I
you
mean,
can
you might be
use.
able to Google it. I mean, of course, the problem is then you need to know how to spell
Spell his name.
Grinwad.
Gimbals.
Or at
It's really
least
hard.
Gimbals.
Doma Castle.
It's true.
That's true. That's true.
We
I
actually turned the
believe-
wiki off right now, so you couldn't Google it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we disabled the entire website. So, and then we also went
It's
ahead and
all a part of the
DDoSed Google.
plan.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah,
The
the
wiki
wiki
is
crashed
crashed.
because all of you are trying to look this up. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's the
God.
good answer.
You
So
might
even
have
if-
the first question that stumps chat.
Even if you have an active subscription, you can stack this time code onto your current subscription.
You can. This will give you a free
Mhm.
free amount of time, no sub cost, free amount of time in the game.
Yep.
Gun hammer,
looking.
it's good. Yes, it's a good
You don't have
description
to
of
be
what
nice.
it is.
Don't have to be nice.
Yeah.
Don't be
this,
nice.
This might be the first one that stumps everybody.
Ooh.
Ethis would be so proud. Sly.
I know.
I
Yeah,
know.
If
You're
nobody
really-
gets it,
He
you might
usually
as well
he
get the
usually
answer.
stumps me with questions like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Because I don't know.
Let me see. Let me see if I can turn this up. Ryan Watts.
Are we gonna have to, like-
Weapon. Final Fantasy
Hmm.
14.
Pretty sure one of the abilities he uses is probably named it. Probably.
Ooh, probably.
Oh, hey, we got it.
Hey.
Excellent.
Hey!
In the chat with
Hey.
Sharon.
Yeah.
I was
You
worried.
get a
I was like,
bonus.
whew. I
You
hope
get a
somebody
bonus
does.
unlockable lore master title that is now just. You don't. No, you don't.
Right.
Or Google Foo. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
did
good
somebody
title.
else? Did somebody else say
The
it
master of
before?
Google Foo.
Wait.
No.
Nope. I think Felice was the first.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Felice was the first that I see.
Well done and good question,
Yeah.
Sly.
Yeah, it's a great question.
All right. So that's gonna do it. Sly, what do you have going on? Where can people find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. I do everything. Of course, you can find me with Happy for State of the Realm, talking about games when we're not talking about Final Fantasy 14. And yeah, like I said, I pretty much do everything, and I will have no life starting probably mid-October to Invoker. So yeah, looking forward to fall.
All right,
But
Sly,
thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for joining.
gosh,
Always a
Love having
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and we'll be back here in a minute with our next guest. We'll see you in a second, everybody. All right, and we are back. Of course, we had Sly on. We have to follow up with Mr. Happy. Haps, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I just realized I had the audio still on the tab, and I started hearing it twice.
Uh-oh.
And I was like,
Well,
scary.
you know, it happens.
Yeah,
But
it works out too because it's our 200th episode, so it's like double, you know,
Yeah.
double the audio, double the podcast.
there you go.
Sure.
All right, let's go ahead. We'll give the question wheel a spin here and see what we get. I still think there's a few we haven't gotten yet.
Yeah, most likely.
Question
Is that the
8. Well, we're just starting
I
off.
think that's...
Ask us a question.
Oh.
Putting you on the
sorry.
spot
That's
right
the
away.
That's like when someone says, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" It's like, I don't know, whatever you want. It's like,
We, you know, if you want, we can re-roll.
We can re-roll it if you'd like.
Good one.
yeah, I don't. That's so hard. I don't know.
Okay.
You should have. If you let me know what the wheel options were, I could have.
No, it's got to. The wheel decides. All right.
Okay.
Redraw it.
We just had this one with Sly. When answering dialogue choices in 14, do you answer as yourself or do you answer as your character?
I am my character. So every choice I
That's
make
deep.
is their decision.
All right.
And I kind of just do. If sometimes you have to pick the funny one,
Right.
you have to. It's an unwritten rule, and you kind of want to know what the other option is, but you don't care in that moment.
Right.
You really need to pick the funny one,
I agree,
especially
yeah.
especially
Who
when
are you
Alice is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's a bad influence on my character. Like my character's very, straight and narrow-ish guardian type thing. I don't even RP. I just think about it. If Alice is around, no, we're gonna do some stupid stuff. That's just the way it's gonna go.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do you? And this might be a difficult question, but is there a moment of dialogue, like a dialogue choice or a funny one or something, maybe with Alice, that you can actually think of that distinctly comes to mind?
I'm sure something around the password section.
Yes.
There's got to be a choice there. I couldn't name them off the top of my head, but there has to be a choice in that sequence somewhere where I'm like, I have to do it.
Yep.
That one was so good.
All right, let's go ahead and give the wheel another spin. Let's see what we get. We just had that one, didn't we? Yeah, that was the ask us a question one. It really wants the wheel really wants you.
I'll ask you. Can you roll? Can you spin it?
That's okay. Yeah, there you go. Question 11. We haven't had this one yet.
Ooh,
What
yeah.
are your favorite pieces to use in glamours?
Wow, I am the most worthless guest. in this. No, I do have an answer though. The toad mask.
That's fine. That's a good answer.
No, that's okay.
It has to be the toad. I even have a macro with the jelly donut emote, as I call it, where it makes my mouth do this on the toad mask when I'm eating it. So
Excellent.
yeah.
That is amazing.
That's good.
That's so good. That's
See,
commitment to
if
this toad
if I
mask.
ever wore stuff like that, I would just sit there and like open up the character screen and just toggle the bit on the thing to do the mouth thing while I'm just standing there and like people are like, what in the world is he? Macro.
I even have it in text. I do. It's the macro /em eats a delicious jelly donut, and then it has the mouth open, the /visor to open and close the mouth a bunch of times.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
That's iconic.
Committing.
Absolutely.
All right, let's give it another spin here.
Said it was not good. That was a great
that was a good one.
answer.
That was
That's
fantastic.
a great answer.
All right. Oh, we got this one again. How did you get into creating content for Final Fantasy XIV?
Yeah.
Luck.
Yeah.
No, actually, when I was in high school and college, I used to watch a ton of tank spot videos for World of Warcraft. I wasn't even playing at the time. I just watched a bunch of tank spot videos. And so when I started making videos just because I had time, that was kind of how I modeled it after. That was the inspiration at the very least. But ultimately it came down to I was working 9 to 5 and I just wanted to do something creative when I got home. And it ended up being like every week I'd be like, oh, here's some 14 news. And I'll just make a video for that. And then here's what we learned this week and last week. Or here's things that we already know or things that are changing from before. And then when I didn't have that job anymore, because the company cut 2/3 of the staff and I was among them, European companies buying American companies means get rid of people. They can do more than one job at a time, especially because it was a startup. So like they're like, no, you guys can't have all this anymore. what are these oatmeal bars? Bring your own. We can't We can't have these in the kitchen. Then it was just a more consistent thing. I also injured myself around that time, so I couldn't even work out. So I literally had nothing to do. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this for a while since I don't have a job and I can't work out. So this is where all my time is going now. And it did work out.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I would
Maybe
say
a
it sort of
little
worked out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is a question, just a dovetail. I'm all about the dovetails today.
Yeah.
So you started out watching WoW videos, but
Yep.
what made you pick Final Fantasy 14 as your MMO?
I
what,
played
like drew
11
you to it?
for so
I
many
gotcha.
years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a part of my life I can't get back.
That's how I feel about it.
I feel you.
I always say every time in high school I had a girlfriend was when my subscription to 11 lapsed. Every time.
Wow.
And I have probably the Facebook and MySpace posts to prove it somewhere.
Documented proof of the pattern.
The history.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Question number 4. What are you looking forward to in Endwalker?
I get it. Forward. That's clever.
Didn't even plan that.
Totally on purpose.
Well, that's good. That's why I'm here, to bring out the fun.
to point it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I always say with 14, I'm always pretty happy with what I have in front of me. So I always just want more 14.
Mm-hmm.
More reasons to log in, more reasons to stay logged in, more things to grind. I mean, Shadowbringers has been more productive than any other expansion for me in the history of Final Fantasy 14. And so if they can bring me more stuff like that in Endwalker, as long as it's not any more fishing, then I'm good.
I was literally about to say, would you like a whole new tier of fishing and achievements as a new
No.
title?
I don't do it fishing. I do ocean fishing. I
Mm.
refuse to do big fishing. No.
Oh yeah, I
Not
don't
happening.
even want to think about that.
Nope.
Nope.
So the answer
Island
is
Sanctuary, I
ensure-
hope, has a bunch of achievements,
Yeah.
like long-term
Oh yeah.
achievements.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's I think a little bit of like the Mog Garden from 11 that they added in Seekers of Adeline. So I feel like they would definitely have some influence to draw on from
Yeah.
that. So, all right, has it already been 15
Been
minutes?
10 minutes.
Has
no,
it?
We can.
No, because Sly
Squeeze
was
in
on
one more.
5 extra.
Oh, that's right. Because we'll
That's what
give
it is.
we'll give you
One
one more spin of the wheel. I think our next guest will forgive us.
I hope.
Question number it's kind of on the fence. 1 or 12.
Which one's a better question? Ask me that.
I don't. Well, okay. So one is when you started playing 14. The other is favorite memory regarding 14.
Then we should probably go with the second one, because when I
Yeah.
started is not a tale we need to talk about. We need to talk about 1.0. It doesn't need to.
So then, what is your favorite memory about Final Fantasy
Yeah.
14? You could be in game or out of game.
Was it 1.0?
No, it was fortunately not the same. I was gonna make a joke too, but you beat me to it. No favorite. It's actually kind of tough because I've been doing this for so many years. I don't know. I guess FanFest is up there. Just generally, like that's around 14, but in game, probably it's either Ultimate Weapon Ultimate, or it's Gordius. The third fight, not the fourth one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because that was my heart beats faster when I think about that.
Sure.
losing world third to 2 people dying to the last Pharaoh fluid,
Oh.
and then taking 2 more days to beat it after that attempt.
Oh.
And
Oh.
but when it was over, it was
Yeah.
zen. And then it was 5 weeks of a way worse fight.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
It's like those moments where you beat that boss. Like I've never done world first in 14, but I did in WildStar because I'm an idiot. We actually got world last on the 40 man, and once it was over, everybody it's that feeling. Well, they changed the 40 man into 20 man afterwards, so we're the last group. Yeah, we changed our name to world last. After.
Literally, oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
WildStar ended, so there actually can be a
Yeah.
world last. Okay, fair.
I mean, I feel like that's almost even rarer than world's first, if I'm gonna be real. the definitive world last. So
Right.
there you go.
I mean, it was only like 20 groups anyway.
You should get like a
Population.
T-shirt.
Yeah,
you should
exactly.
get that on a T-shirt. I think that'd be a good T-shirt.
Really should.
That's awesome though. I honestly, so like when I came in, it was just post End Heavensward, right? and hearing the stories about people raiding during that period, still like to this day, you know, I wish I could go back and almost relive it, because it sounds like it was equal parts absolutely infuriating and also something you would like never forget from this game, you know?
Yeah, that describes all Final Fantasy 11 to me too.
I don't know. There are things about those fights that I miss in comparison to the new fights. Like the new fights, while some of them are quite fun, have things about them that feel hollow in comparison to Alexander Tier.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, sending someone to go into the car. No, you get in it. No, you're getting in that robot. I'm not doing it.
I was in the robot.
Yeah.
The robot punishment corner.
Yeah.
I was only in the robot for the last wave though. We had we one healed
Yeah.
it with us with a scholar in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I remember that too well.
Mitigated as much as we can.
We did monk and bard. So I was in for the second half, and then when we got a healer that could single heal it, we let the monk stay out, and he's just like, "Thank you, thank you
so much."
I mean, if for no other reason, I really feel like that was probably the best raid portion of the entire game, because there was a boss named Ratfinks Twinkledinks, which to this day
Yeah,
is still
I mean,
my
those
favorite
goblin
name.
names are.
I don't call him Twinkle Dinks. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah.
I have a different
Oh, we
name
should
for
have
him.
a whole episode.
What would you
about-
call him? What would you call him though?
I think you can. I think without me ruining the PG-13.
Whatever you do."
I think you can. I think you can science out letter wise and what I may call him instead.
Just every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Happy, you also have a question for our chat. Again, chat, first person to type the answer in will win a game time code. Courtesy. I keep messing up the word courtesy. It's not that
Courtesy's
hard of a
tough
word.
It's not
Courtesy.
courtesy. It's courtesy of Square Enix. I don't know.
I
it's
keep saying
specifically
like
when we say it. It's all together. It's
Just
all
give it a
as
weird
one.
accent. Courtesy of Square Enix.
Courtesy of our friends over at the Square Enix. I don't even know
Thanks.
what was that. I don't
That was
even.
like New Jersey
That was-
into
this
like
is part of
Vanity.
Dracula. That was like New Transylvanian. Is what it was.
Okay.
All right,
There you go.
sure.
Yeah, look at that.
This is
I would-
podcast episode
so
brought to you by
my
the-
question on like Slies, if people don't get it right, I'll be upset because I've literally done content about it recently, like very recently.
We just
So,
talked about content that revolves around it, so
Yeah, I really hope so. So in the Alexander raid series, Matoya and Ishtola attempt to stop Alexander from absorbing ether from the hinterlands. What did they do to attempt this? And while you won't get anything extra for this bonus, why didn't it work?
That's a great one.
So I expect that the first part someone will get very quickly. The second part, if you get the first part, it's almost impossible to not get the second part. But the second part doesn't get you anything, so feel free to just answer the first part. I just threw it in there because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
So
All right, chat, it's up to you.
I'm looking for the exact name of it, by the way, not just what it is.
close. There's some
Yeah.
close things in
You're getting
there.
close to it, everybody.
There's people who are getting close, but
It's like, you're right there. You're so
Yeah.
close.
they're very, very close, but not quite. They're describing what it is, but not what it's called. And I'm going to be at this on this one and definitely not give you half a point because they can't split a game time card. They can't just be like, no, that's it. We'll cut it in half.
We'll give you half of the code. You can guess what the other digits are
you can fill it in just
for
start,
all
like,
eternity. It'll be your life's work figuring out what the second half of the code is.
Be like the Flash when he's trying to think of like the code for Batman in the Justice League animated and just starts punching them all in.
Grabs a dictionary. Let's see. It's got to be one of these words.
Aardvark?
Probably
I literally just played through it the other day. Anyone who's actually been in my stream should actually know.
So what Haps is saying is that if you haven't yet, go watch the VOD right now. You gotta watch it right now.
Or the
You gotta
YouTube
see
video
it.
I put out
There you
like
go.
a week ago that literally discusses it.
Again,
Oh,
the
we got it.
question is, did we get it? No.
No, the people have only
No.
described what it is without
Yeah.
without naming it.
Yeah. What
might
did
have to-
Toya and Y'shtola use to attempt Alexander from absorbing Aether in the hinterlands?
Yep.
What is the specific name? Not
What
just
is
the
the
description.
Yep.
The specific name of the spell ability thing that they try to do.
Yep.
Oh,
Ventus in the chat. Arc Anima.
It is Arc Anima.
That is correct.
Well
Yep.
done.
Which is an etheric membrane.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I'm proud of everybody that did the etheric membrane there. Even that, you know, you never know if
Looking
people are
at
going to
some of
get
these
it.
questions ahead of time, I'm like, are people gonna get this?
Yeah, they did it.
But
Expected
Ventus,
because
They
I
have
hosted
been,
and
so-
rated before
Ventus,
this,
you did
that
get
somebody
it.
would get it.
And
Yeah.
so we
Yeah,
will send
exactly.
you your game time code via Twitch Whisper. Haps, thanks so much for joining us. Always great to be able to talk to you.
Yes.
What do you have going on? Where can people find you?
You can find me Mr. Happy1227 on all the things. I can't even name them anymore. It's been busy times. A lot of new player videos on YouTube. Next week's crazy. Chris Tales comes out. Something else I can't talk about just yet happens. Make It Rain event starts. I'm working on Heaven on High solos. New World beta. Genshin Impact update, which I've been waiting for since November. So it's a time. It's a time.
And while, right before we let you go, why didn't the Arc Anima work?
Because Travon Shea, a character from 1.0, stole a horn from the Scions, and that horn can draw ether from anywhere in the world, and it is Alexander's core, per the summoning ritual.
Ah, the horn.
Ooh.
The 1.0 thing returns.
Yeah, I couldn't get away from 1.0 still, I guess.
All right, Haps, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get our next guest ready, and we will be back here in a minute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and we're back. This time we are joined once again by Galaxy. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
It's all
Thanks for having me.
bright and early, or
Yes.
not bright and early, depending
Dark
on
and early.
Dark and early and
dark
cold.
and early.
It's not as good as the
Oh,
dark and stormy,
no.
but I'd drink it.
Oh yeah.
I'd try it at least.
All right, so
Is that
we'll go
rum
ahead.
or something else though.
Definitely something else.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and we'll give the question wheel a spin here and see what comes up. I feel like there's still one or two we maybe haven't gotten yet.
I don't remember hearing the number 9.
How about what?
Definitely. I was a little bummed that last time we didn't just like continuously every single time get the ask us a question
Yeah.
just to like really.
I mean, it came up twice. That was pretty good.
I'm like so scared. I'm like,
So we did
yeah.
have this one, but
Oh.
Haps was like, no.
No
When
pressure.
did
Yeah, you can say no.
You can say
Okay.
no if you really
Okay.
want to. When did you start playing 14, and do you have any favorite memories from your early days?
okay. I started playing 14 at the beta for Realm Reborn on PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah.
Uh, my
Nice.
favorite memories. Look, I have met a lot of friends along the way, but like as normal friendships, they come and they go. But I think one of my favorites was trying to beat Titan Extreme on PlayStation 3 with Australian latency.
Ooh.
No ping tunnels,
Ooh.
no nothing. PlayStation
sorry.
3 wireless. I was dead every single time.
Oh
Titan
no.
X. Oh,
Landslide, I'm across the other side of the arena, but hey, I'm heading off the edge.
Oh no.
Titan X is such a good one. I mean, it's such an
Yeah.
iconic moment, and it's so funny because, like, even to this day, I think we, a couple years back, when we were just doing some like teaching raid kind of things off stream, we had some friends that raided with us from EU who, can do everything in the game just fine, EU. And when we went back in minimum eye level Titan, that latency, every single time they were dead. Every single
That was
time.
the
There
big
hasn't been
thing.
another mechanic that
No.
is
Yep.
as hard with latency.
That was
as
the big thing
Landslide.
when 2.0 came out. It was Titan. Everybody's like, what are these awful server connections? And it was all
Yeah.
because of Titan.
Titan
Yep,
is
and
the
it was a
reason I
time
have-
where. No,
ahead.
go.
Titan is the reason I have a desk. I used to play in a big comfy chair with a keyboard on my lap and my mouse on like the big oversized like arm. And you can't do quick, fast, don't screw up movements in Titan. So I have a desk because of that fight.
Amazing.
What were you
There you
gonna
go.
say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that was also the time that no one believed you. They were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, connection."
Mhm.
I was like, "I'm Australian," and they're like, "Australian."
Did you end up clearing it while it was current, or did you give up when you were like, "There's no way with latency"?
I cleared it while I was current, but I can't say I cleared it. I was dead at the bottom.
You watched other people clear it.
Yeah, I did. Actually, no, because that was back before they moved the camera. I watched my dead
Right, you were-
body at the bottom.
Oh
All you can see
Yeah,
is the-
I watched
That's
my dead
right.
body at the bottom for a while,
was-
and
Yeah.
That was always such
Yeah,
a
you don't-
fun part of that fight because you'd fall and you're like, oh man, but then somebody else falls and you're like, how's it going? Just laying there at the bottom of it.
I like when you would get weird glitches, like your eyes would be open or your face would be stuck in a weird position when you're down
Yeah.
there.
You're just there and all of a sudden just like body splats next to you. Just like, you come here often?
yeah,
Unfortunately.
I was like, it's cleared. It counts.
Yeah, true story. Like I started playing right as 2.0 started. I didn't know what I was gonna play. I got into like a raid group. I did Twintania blind. Like I think you guys were close to clearing it. Did it. Understood twisters. Everything was fine. Titan EX died a billion times.
Yep.
Like absolutely a billion times.
Yeah, it's weird. Just nothing compares to Landslide.
It's insane.
It's funny because I feel like on one hand I'm kind of grateful. Like there was a part of me that now that they've done a lot of things where like you can be rezzed if you get knocked off. Like part of me is like, oh, I'm kind of glad because that always was really infuriating. And then this other little part of me that was like forged in the bottom of that fiery lava hell is just like, no, if you die, you die.
That's it.
Like,
Mate,
you know?
I play healer. If you die, you die.
I play summoner. I'd say the same thing.
All right, let's give the wheel another spin here and see what question we get next. Just we did question 1, now we're gonna do question 2. We're just
Yeah.
that's the way that the wheel wants us to
That's
proceed.
decided.
Galaxy, how did you get into creating content for Final Fantasy XIV?
Oh, it was an accident.
Yeah.
So I was working part-time as an archaeologist, and I needed something to do in my off time because I just finished my thesis at uni, so I just had all of this extra time. And I was like, I like games. maybe I should try stream on Twitch. And I had like this little shitty camera and everything like that. I was actually playing Minecraft for that first, because I'd never played Minecraft before. And I was like, oh, lots of people like Minecraft. And then I was like, I will switch to Final Fantasy because that's my favorite game. And I'm spending hours and hours trying to clear tier 1 of Shadowbringers at the time. And then I just got, it exploded. I was like, yay. So yeah, here I am.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Accident.
Oh no, all I was gonna say is that, you already know, like, sometimes when we're content creators all in the same sphere and you see each other around, you kind of like lurking each other's streams, you're like, oh, this person's so cool. And then you have these moments where somebody says something and you're like, oh my God, they're even cooler than I thought.
You can go back and I think you can see all of our faces. She's like, I was in like archaeology. We're like,
I was an archaeologist at the time and I'm over here like, oh my God, oh geez, this is the coolest thing I've heard all day.
There you go. Bonus information. I am an archaeological scientist.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
I deal with PG-13 dead bodies.
Oh, okay.
and then you log
That's
in
fair.
and you raise my dead ass. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Or not, if we refer to the earlier statement.
We should have snuck
Yeah,
a
I was
question
gonna
on that
say,
wheel. Just to ask how much fusion dies. That would have been a good question.
I mean, no
Is he
more
a
than
normal
anybody
beginner?
else. Usually it's I don't know if they listen.
Tell the truth.
Usually it's
Tell
our
the truth.
dancer that dies.
I would say, I would say our dancer dies the most.
Under the
But-
boat.
But they're aware
But
of that.
Fusion is
and
a
it's
true
fine.
floor tank.
Good, I'm glad.
Really glad you're living up to the legacy, Fusion. Your face is very good right now. For anybody that's listening, the like dead flat stare.
Look,
is
all I'm
just
saying
really-
is there was one person that didn't move for partner stacking last week.
Like
and it
every
wasn't me.
time, that was me.
We all were in a funk. Anyway.
Last week
Anyway.
was a nightmare. It was like partner stack, and I'm like, cool.
Cat
Doesn't
jam.
move.
Wants us to ask
Yeah.
question
Dead.
1 again. That's
Every
not what we're gonna do. Question number 12. What is your
1, 2,
favorite
12.
memory regarding Final Fantasy XIV? This can be in game or out of game.
Wait, didn't we have this one? Because it was definitely tight.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess there's overlap
Did
with
we
those, like an
have that one?
early.
That was
That's
like
true.
your
Starting
early
memory.
favorite
Yeah,
memory.
that's
But
right.
early
That's
favorite
right.
memory.
We'll spin it again.
We can roll
That's
again.
fine.
We'll just go.
And
I was gonna
it'll
say
give
because
us
it's probably my
another
favorite.
question. 10. All right. When answering dialogue choices in 14, do you answer as yourself or as your character?
Ooh, neither.
Really?
I'm a notorious scene skipper, so I just click buttons.
Oh.
It's really interesting because we started this out like, yeah, I'm
I don't mean
like
to.
archaeology. You're like, wow, she's so cool. I'm gonna skip
Rook's leaving.
scenes, and Rook is gone. That's it. All right, that's the second time we've had to just cut away from a guest. I mean, this is really awkward.
You know why though? I don't mean to.
It's an accident when I push the button and skip every single piece of dialogue.
Look. I play on controller, and I this is why I say it's an accident, because I'm so used to just going click, 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 click. Like it doesn't matter what I'm playing. If it's like, I think it started in Pokemon. Just keep clicking A until you've healed your Pokemon 5 times. So I think it's brought over from that. So I do accidentally skip a lot of dialogue. So I don't answer as anyone because I'm like, I didn't read it.
You don't even know what you picked. It's like an out-of-body experience.
See, it happens
Pretty
to me
much.
sometimes too, because like sometimes I just don't wait to hear it, or like if I always in any JRPG put text on instant, so I could just be like, okay, read it, because I'll just speed read through it. But yeah, 14 made me slow down because I missed a few dialogue options really early, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to like hit the button once. See what happens.
Yeah. Maybe I could be a speedrunner for story content.
Yeah, just start adding that on to like the stream title, Speedrunner Final Fantasy.
This
You
wheel
really
just
don't
keeps
have to spoil
doubling
anybody
up on
who might be
questions here.
watching.
Yeah, that maybe I'm just super spoiler friendly.
Yeah.
What do you think the new 6.1 story arc is going to be after we wrap up Endwalker?
Oh, That's so difficult.
Alex, I'm so sorry. I love you so much, and I apologize in advance, but I have to burn you a little bit for just 1 second. So please, Galaxy won't know because Galaxy didn't read any of the dialogue in the story. You can't answer the question. I'm kidding.
This
I'm
is
kidding.
true.
I'm kidding.
I'll just slide over. Yeah.
No. I mean, honestly, I know so many people who do that, right? And like, it is a reflex, or people who just genuinely aren't interested in the story. I even have a lot of friends who have ADHD, and the sheer amount of text is really difficult for them to just deal with in 14, especially when it's unvoiced. So that is just a silly joke that I made. I want you to know that.
That having been said, if you want something presented in a picture book style, I mean, that's a valid option as well if you don't want to read the text.
Fusion's new content that he's starting this week.
Picture book Final Fantasy.
But
WoW, like I don't read anything, so.
Oh well, that's fair.
I don't read
World
WoW.
of Warcraft. Nothing. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. There's lore somewhere in World of Warcraft.
I don't skip scenes that are voiced.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're saving yourself a little bit. You're recovering. Okay.
Wow.
yeah.
No, you're doing great. Please feel free to answer the question. I apologize for my sheer amount of sass.
Honestly,
No, it's
that's-
okay. I appreciate
That's what I
it.
tell players who are the sort who don't really want to read all the cutscenes. Like, listen, the story here is really good. If you want to know what's going on, skip the things that don't have voice, but listen to the things that do. So you're kind of doing it right, kind of.
Yay. So okay, 6.1. When Shadowbringers came out, I kind of had this idea that maybe in the future we would go see all the rest of the shards and the world would be vastly different. But that's still kind of Hydaelyn, right? And they said we're moving away from Hydaelyn and Zodiac. So what?
Right.
Is there a multiverse where it's not Hydaelyn? It's
I mean,
called- it's like
multiverses are in right now.
Hydaelyn.
Right.
The multiverses are in, exactly, Loki. You know?
Yeah. I agree. Like going into Shadowbringers, I was like, okay, this throwaway story on another world. But I love the first, like, unironically, and I want to see more of the shard. I want to see how different it is. I really
Right? Yeah, I want to see all the different shards. I want to see what's going on. I want to see how different it is, how similar it is.
How we can
I don't
help.
even know if that's what's going to happen though, because
Right.
it's still Hydaelyn. So I feel like I just can't even comprehend what might happen.
Yeah, it's
The
interesting.
next raid tier.
The
There's
next raid tier.
Yeah, how many alive shards are there still? Each of them is a tier of the raid, and we just go to each one of those.
I
Fix
mean,
them.
Please
there-
give me that much savage content, please.
There's a ton of foundational stuff right now that I think could totally make that a reality. And if like the culmination of all of this resolution between Hydaelyn and Zodiac isn't that we are bringing the shards back together, which we know is kind of the goal, at least of the Ascians, right? Or to some degree to cause us rejoining. But if the worlds stay as they are, I mean, we've already seen with the first, we've already seen with the possibility of like the void quests and things, right? That like going around or even reclaiming lost worlds might be really feasible, and then somehow connecting those worlds together with some kind of transportation, might create a sense of unity in the worlds. That's like a larger resolution. It also just makes sense because it's very easy and right in front of you. And it's like, why wouldn't we just go to these other worlds? And then that's the thing, you know? But there's
I
other
mean,
things
it would
they
be
could explore.
amazing. It'd be like collecting friends, like
Right.
this is mine. This is mine. Now I have a good happy circle. All the shards, the void.
Then
We
each
just-
shard you
we're
go
vibing.
to, you're like, hey, have you ever watched Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, we got that over here. You want to do the fusion dance? I feel a connection. I think we might be shards of the same
You're
person.
talking about absorbing your own shard. For a second, I thought you were just like, I really love Dragon Ball Z, so I really want everybody in the whole world and every single shard to know what Dragon Ball Z is.
Have you
My
heard
brain
about
was-
our Lord and Savior Goku? No,
I
that's
mean,
not
if you
what
like
I'm getting
the
at.
Dalamud cultist, you just show up on a world and say, "The end is nigh. Watch Dragon Ball Z." You know,
Just vanish. Just leave. Yeah.
just pull an Orion
What
J.
even is this tangent? All right, let's give the wheel one more spin.
Just answering chat.
We just-
Yes, every shard has a McDonald's because everywhere
absolutely.
has a
Absolutely.
McDonald's.
Or one of them might have, what was the name of the one from Coming to America? What was the name of the?
Oh.
It was a shoot.
Oh damn! I just watched that recently.
Right?
too.
That's
Yeah, I just saw the
McDowell's.
McDowell's.
McDowell's. Yeah, except for the fifth shard. The fifth shard has a McDowell's. Question 8. Oh, you get to ask us a question.
Oh.
Oh.
Unless you don't want to.
Unless you don't want to. We can
Okay.
roll the wheel again.
No. We can do this. We can
Alright.
do this. This is for chat too. If you could add any class into
Ooh.
Final Fantasy XIV from previous Final Fantasy games, what would you add and why?
I already have my answer, so I'll go first as you
Go.
think about
Yes,
it.
please do, because I
want-
have nothing.
I want from Tactics Advance and that branch the Illusionist, because I want another mage.
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah, and I really, despite myself, because usually I play melee in most MMOs, I played caster here and I tend to enjoy it, but I don't really enjoy summoner as it is now. I don't really like raiding on red mage, and black mage kind of would make me insane, probably, because I really want to do the most damage as possible. So I'm like, man, Illusionist could be cool. I'm not entirely sure how they could do it. I don't know if it'd be more dots or whatever, but I just love that idea. And we're going to Thavnair. And in Tactics Advance, it was very, that kind of Near Eastern anyway. So Illusionist is my answer. Definitely.
Nice.
I'm gonna say Time Mage, with the sort of understanding that it would be like a support mage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be hard for them to do that because you'd have things like haste and slow, and that would
Yeah.
add a whole nother like realm of junk for every player to worry about if suddenly they had to
Yeah.
worry about haste. But I think it would be cool, so screw it, do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
it's tough. This is tough. I mean, I was gonna lean towards Time Mage because that one just seems, like a
Right.
good one. But I guess we'll go a little different on this. I see a lot of people in chat saying Eunice. Yes, like obviously, that's what I hoped
Yeah.
that Summoner would be. But as it is, I think I'd actually really like to see something like Rune Knight or
Yeah.
this one's gonna sound really silly, but I swear it's not, Mime.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Mime's in the game.
it's in the game.
It's a thing.
But I like really quirky, interesting jobs. I like jobs that kind of subvert what you would expect of them and that are kind of enjoyable and silly. I just to me, I think that while it wouldn't have to necessarily be mime specifically, something that captures that same kind of vein of the playfulness. Even something like Blitzballer or something like that captures that playfulness of the Final Fantasy franchise. I'd be super into.
I think for
I lied.
me,
I lied.
Oh,
I'm cutting you off. I lied. Not Time Mage. Corsair.
Oh.
I was just about to say that you took
Oh,
mine.
sorry. Do it then. Do it. You do
No.
it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
The
just
11 players.
I was sitting here trying
Yeah.
to think, and then somebody mentioned Lady Luck in the chat, and yeah, Corsair. But we would have to do the thing where they don't mess it up with how they did with Astrologian, right?
Yeah, keep
It's
coming back to it.
yeah, right. Well, I guess it wasn't as it wasn't. But yeah, something like that would be cool. Other potential job, the Brown Mage from Final Fantasy XI.
It's it's actually a thing, but
It's actually a thing. There is a Taru in Juno who practices brown magic, and he will remove your food effects.
Yep.
they couldn't do it. Too many people make poop jokes all the time.
And
Yeah,
if you're
I was
like,
like, that's the
if
first
you're
thing I
like
thought of.
the, what is it, the 100th or the 1000th person to use it, you can get a title that's like Brown Mage Byproduct.
I think
It's a
what,
real
I'm
thing.
gonna redirect this far too poop related conversation. I'm gonna direct it to Galaxy, and I'm gonna ask Galaxy. I'm gonna turn the question back on you. What class would you like to see added?
Look,
Please
this is
don't say brown
probably-
mage.
Brown Mage.
No!
It's a solid option, I'm telling you.
Solid.
Running
up.
I guess that's good.
Mm,
I really wanted chemist. Now I know
Yeah.
a lot of people were thinking chemist was going to be for Endwalker. But here's my reasoning. I imagine chemist as a melee healer. You run around, you run to the tank, and you like slap a band-aid on. Maybe you have some ranged moves, just like tank
I'm
have
just
their ranged, like
imagining, like-
lob and whatnot, and you're like, bam,
I'm
potion.
just imagining now like the epic fight against Xenos at the end of Endwalker. and some dude in your party just runs up and smashes a vial of acid on his face.
Yeah.
Chemist.
That would actually be cool.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if a melee healer would work. It really wouldn't. But
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
I
WoW
just
has a kind
want
of,
it.
like in the Holy Paladin has some AoE. They do melee to then do healing, so it could.
Yeah.
There's ways.
I mean, I do think that. Oh gosh, is it Rikun 10 who does
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Combine,
Like
mix
the
them.
mix mechanic, and then you
Yes,
throw whatever you
yes. I actually was not that convinced about something like Chemist because I tend to be drawn more to like the flashy classes or classes that have some kind of like magical component or something like that. But when I started thinking about how fun it was, like the ways that you could combine different things with her and like the just bizarre stuff that could happen, it reminded me of what I love about Ninja. It reminded me about what I love about, old Astrologian. Like, I do think it could actually be super fun, and having that different kind of playstyle for healer could be something that would add a lot of like much needed variety to the class.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be awesome, like a healer that doesn't actually have magical abilities.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're any less of a healer. What if it was a healer that had to do some damage in order to be able to have better heals? Like the more damage you do, that could be how you collect like ingredients, and then you have like a ninja mudra style mix. That's what I want.
Then you like mix it, and you either get like a really powerful or like an AoE or single
Or you get a
target.
rabbit that appears on their
Or you
head and
turn him
bites
into
them.
a brown mage.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't.
Came back full circle. Love it.
Choice.
All
I
right.
really just love the idea of somebody coming up and slapping a band-aid on, because the animation for that would be adorable and probably like squeaky and
It's that like that good job pooping motion. It's just like
I mean, I can't even ask because I personally love saying that. So
again,
I mean, yes.
bringing it back around to brown mage.
I mean, to be fair, Bebop and I did just start playing. My partner and I just started playing Yakuza, and at one point we got a laxative from the from the medicine place and used it for funsies in battle, and it did reduce our health to 1, and then we died. So could you
dysentery.
maybe, as a chemist, like induce dysentery on somebody? Sure, like that might be fun.
You know, stay regular, everybody.
we got a trivia question.
Yeah, let's move on to that.
Yeah.
So again, first person in the chat to answer this will get a game time code courtesy of our friends over at Square Enix. I said it that time. Galaxy,
And
take it
just really
away.
quick-
Yes.
Just really quick. I've been sending out messages to people and I've had someone not answer. So if you want your code, please give me an answer if you're listening.
Yes, verify that you have in fact received the code. We are sending them via the whisper function on Twitch.
Take it away.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so our question, we don't have a bonus one, so it is just one and done. How did Thancred meet Louis Soir? How did he become a Sharlayan?
That's a nice one. That's a good
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
I love Daddy Thancred.
Thank you. It's like just you and me. Only
Level
the two.
39 nerd gets
He's
it
not my
right
favorite, babe.
away.
Wow.
That is the
Wow.
fastest one I think we've had
think
all
so, yeah.
day. Yeah,
Man,
Thancred
that's because I skip all
marked
the
Louis
all the
Soir and
scenes.
tried to steal from him.
Yeah.
And Louis Soir's like, nah,
No.
I see what
I
you're
mean,
trying
to
to
be
do.
fair though, Galaxy, this case is not you skipping the scenes. This is actually something that like is kind of a weird gray area in the game because I believe you found that out more so in 1.0. Is that right?
I read it in the law book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
like
a side
Yeah.
thing. It's not in
It's
1.0
this-
at all.
little
Yeah.
tiny side thing that's kind of in the game that plays into some of that early stuff between Thancred Minfilia and the Louis Soir, like how they all met and how they
Oh,
kind
chat
of knew each
chat's
other.
saying it might be from one of those side stories that they post
right.
up on
Oh, it
Lodestone.
could
That
be.
sound that
Yeah,
could
it
be it.
probably definitely is in one of those. I have it in the encyclopedia. But yeah,
Yeah.
Thancred grew up in the streets on Limsa. Was like, I'm a pickpocket.
He's
Pick
like,
the
that's
wrong
an old
dude."
guy.
Or
He
the
seems
right dude.
easy. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
steal from him.
Louis Soir's like, bam, you're coming with me. And that's it.
All right,
That's
so
history.
congrats to level 39 nerd for getting that right. We'll send you that code over. Galaxy, thank you so much for joining us. We always love having you. What are you up to? Where can people find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me at Galaxy AUS on Twitch. You can find me at Galaxy on YouTube. So I stream Final Fantasy. I'm part of the Aetheryte stream team. But also I do reaction videos on YouTube as of recently. And my community gets to vote what I watch and what I post, which is really cool. So yeah, that's my main thing. I'm super hyped for Oceanic servers, so I will be creating an alt to play through the story. I pinky promise. It's a Galaxy reads the cutscenes. So that's happening. But yeah, I do kind of want to do a shout out for Final Fantasy XIV Australia, New Zealand, because it's in no small part to them that we finally get Oceanic servers, and landslide will never happen to me again. They're an amazing community, so find them on Facebook if you're Australian or New Zealand.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our next guest here, so stick with us, and we will be back here in a sec.
So hello, thank you for joining us.
And we are back. In case you haven't seen enough of him recently, we just got done doing 3 lore casts in a row. We have Anonymoose.
And
welcome back. It's been so long.
It feels like it's been years.
today will be the 4th lorecast. It's all been a pretense.
Yeah, gotcha. It
We
was a
said
trick
you
the whole
guys are gonna
time.
be here for another 3 hours.
We'll see what the wheel spins out. Maybe it'll end up that way.
Ooh.
Suddenly the wheel, every option is just lorecast. Just every single one.
Yeah. There's a secret option. Question 13 here. Do a lore cast right now. If I had known, I would have planned that, and it would have been great.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
It would have been
wow.
hilarious.
Alas,
Yeah.
we just have the normal wheel questions. So let's go ahead. We'll give this a spin here.
So what's going on? Okay.
It's kind of in the middle. 4 or 5.
Uh-oh.
Read both. See which one he likes.
All right. So 4 is what are you looking forward to in Endwalker, and 5 is what do you think 6.1's story arc will be?
Ooh. I don't know which one of these to choose. I guess I'm gonna go with number 4, like what I'm looking forward to most, because there's a
Okay.
little bit more substance over speculation, I guess. I'm looking forward to answers about Vana and Hydaelyn, like number 1, because I think there have been only a few times that I've really kind of put my ass on the line in terms of like predicting something and saying like, this is what I think is coming, but like, I don't know if I'm interpreting the themes right, if I'm interpreting the lines right. And usually I just leave that open and I just don't commit to anything. But I have been saying for years nonstop, like, Hydaelyn loves you, Crystal Mom loves you, she tried her best. And there has been a lot of speculation to the contrary that she's deceptive or duplicitous or everything's going to be, turned on its head in the end. And I feel like this is like probably one of the 2 most controversial ones that have been like incendiary ones. And I'm really looking forward to that being over because the other one's already over.
I like that it's like, I'm not looking forward to getting the answers. I'm just looking forward to it being done. So I never have to hear people yell about it anymore.
I'm looking forward to that weight being off my shoulders. Just no more speculation on whether she was good or bad, even though those aren't things that really exist in this story.
I love that. I'm gonna greet you at next Fan Fest. Hey, what do you think, Hydaelyn? It falls off. Violence suddenly.
I know we got the answer, but do you think that it's possible that?
It is one of those things.
If she ends up being evil, I feel like I'm not even going to be invited to the next Fan Fest. They're just going to be like, nah, it was all a lie. Moose was just winging it the entire time. Reputation over.
No, they will definitely invite you. I mean, it's a really big question, right? The nature of these entities, what role they play. With the stuff that we learned in Shadowbringers as well about their nature and that nature being so closely tied to what we've considered to be a threat, right? There's a lot of really interesting things that play with them. So I'm excited too. I mean, it's really the big question with these 2. Like, what are we supposed to do with them? Are they vital? Is one good, one bad? Can we even think of them like that? And I feel like a lot of that is going to be the crux of this culmination. So
I honestly think that neither is going to end up being the evil one.
Right.
Like throwing back to 11, for example, we had a Hydaelyn and a Zodiark in
Altana and Promathia.
Altana, yeah.
Yep.
And neither of them was really evil in the end there. They just did some things to preserve the people.
Yeah.
My guess is that like good and evil are going to be perspectives. And that there's a big difference between evil and antagonist coded. And I think Zodiark is going to remain antagonist coded, but that is not going to be evil in the sense of just pure evil, right? So I feel like I'm a little kind of excited to see about this outcome and getting these answers maybe is that like all of the people who are saying like Hydaelyn's evil, I'm curious if the goalposts are going to move to, well, she's not perfectly benevolently good and she made some mistakes, so really I was right to call her a monster. Right. Like I'm excited for all of those like it's last minute hindsight 2020 adjustments.
Yeah,
it's that quote from Loki, right? No one bad is ever truly bad and no one good is ever truly good.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Love is a dagger.
That speech was so good. We can't get into it.
It was weird because I thought love was a battlefield, but I mean, if it's a dagger too, I mean,
it's similar.
It's a very sharp battlefield. All right.
Yeah.
Question 7: why do you play the jobs that you play?
Ooh. Okay, so really lately I've only been playing scholars as seriously as it takes to actually do content. At this point, I think I play it because I identify as it and for the love of the game. But I actually started playing Scholar out of spite.
Okay.
I played.
That's a take.
Yeah. Right. It's a bit of a buildup. Like I played a tank in 11. And I came here and I was like, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to tank over again. I'm going to build my character in a new way. I'm going to keep doing it on the journey. And tanking sucked, like bad. Like you had to raise your shield manually, but the lag was so bad that you raised it after you got hit and it fell just before you got hit again. And I was like, I'm done. Like this is crap. So I made another character temporarily and was going to be like, I'm just going to temporarily anonymously play this game and I'm going to do everything opposite. So instead of being tall, I'm going to be short. Instead of being a tank, I'm going to be a mage. And I did everything backwards and ended up with purple hair toddler Anonymoose. mispronounced because no one can pronounce Onwil. And I decided I was going to be like the destructive mage, and I picked Thaumaturge. But Thaumaturge ended up being the best healer, right? So it had that like AoE heal where it was supposed to take away some of your HP and give them HP back, but it didn't do that because you could turn on AoE and the heal would hit you too. So you'd lose a little bit of health and then gain more health than you lost because the cure hit you and everybody else. So what happened was I ended up accidentally becoming the healer instead of the destroyer. And then by the time we got to having jobs in the game, what happened was I was the only one who knew how to heal, who knew how to like look at the list and respond appropriately and be a quick healer. So every time I was coming up on Black Mage, I'd roll up on my Black Mage and everybody would be like, no, switch to White Mage. And it ruined my life for a little bit. And I was just like, I don't want to be White Mage anymore. I want to blow stuff up. I want to be a caster. And then like I blew all of my money on the Nail Von Darnus fight. They released Arcanist, and I came into 2.0 and was just, I'm going to be the level 1 job and experience the story again from scratch. And I get to be a caster and a healer. Meh. Yeah. And that was like my rebellion. My rebellion was to end up Scholar, and now I actually love it.
It's a good
That's
journey.
awesome.
That's great. That's
it's a long
fantastic.
story, but yeah, it's primarily spite driven healing.
I get it.
Sometimes you just want to hit something with a book. I get it. You just need to let that
especially when you're only like 2 feet tall, like taking the book spine to the shin. That's a great revenge on anybody.
Yeah, I really like the evolution of this whole journey. And it's so funny because it does feel like, you know, if we're looking at sort of the role you've played in the community and your knowledge and authority as a lore master here in Final Fantasy XIV, I think many people would initially just be like, yeah, of course, duh, Scholar, because that's like
the books.
The smart one with the books. But I do love that it was actually so much more than that, and then just coincidentally seemed to also play into your archetype.
Right.
That part was pure serendipity.
Yeah, it's funny that you say you book trap at the shins, because I'm an Elizin, so I always feel like I'm like, read this, just read it. Just read it. You could be less dumb.
So I gave our wheel another spin. We did end up with question 5 again.
Uh-huh.
What do I think is in 6.
What do you think 6.1 will be? Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
We lost Zen.
Disconnect.
Oh, no.
Zen's gone.
Uh-oh.
Break.
Hopefully she'll be back here in a second.
I can kind of fix it.
Yeah.
But now you're Rook now. Aldino is Zen, and Rook, you are Aldino.
Okay.
Great. I feel really good about this. I'm going to complain a lot about Summoner.
All you have to do is complain about Summoner, not pick sides if there's a heated discussion, and then talk quietly.
Okay.
Moose is going to have a harder role.
I think... No, this is easy. 6.1's entire plot can be foreshadowed by the spirals we see on the ground and on the walls throughout pretty much the entire game. This is all leading up to the Nautilus inspired golden ratio. No.
So for those that didn't notice, Aldino / Zen decorated
their
it's back.
Again.
The Nautilus is back. Oh my god.
It'll never leave again.
This is tough because there's a big difference between where I want it to go and where I think it would be best to go and where I really think we're going to go. And I'm not sure which is right yet because I feel like we haven't been home in a long time. And I really just want to spend a little while in Eorzea again. I want to see the city-states again. I want to see the Beast Tribe homelands. I want to see Silvertear Lake. I want the real end to be the beginning and come back around to that. But I don't know if that's going to sell as much as something that comes out and kicks the door in like brand new stuff, unbelievable stuff. We've spent so long harping on Hydaelyn and Zodiark and couldn't go anywhere, and now we have freedom and we can go wherever we want and we can do whatever we want. So I think instead we're going to see somewhere far away, completely unknown and totally exciting. And I think the most thematically appropriate place to do that is the New World. I think a lot of people want Mericidia, and it's an option. But I think the most exciting way to say the story that we knew is over and a new story has come is we're going to a whole new world.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so we're done with this eternal war of Hydaelyn and Zodiark. But have you heard of Dave from the New World? New threats emerge. Meet Dave.
there's a whole 2 continents over there, and we have no idea what their history is or what kind of antagonistic forces are rooted there. It could be anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very thematically appropriate if we're going to stay, on the source. Like, if that's what they're going to do and they want us to stay there as opposed to jumping to one of the shards or something, the New World, I think, just makes the most sense. Already with Blue Mage, they've given us little teasers about various areas and things like that. So it is one of those things. Would I rather go just hang out with a whole bunch of dragons and just ride on dragons, just be with dragons and like talk to dragons? Yes, that's what I want because I love dragons.
I'm interested.
Rook's like, what MMO will I play? Does it have dragons? I'm in. Yeah.
That is
done.
legitimately not even a joke, something I will be drawn to. Like, I will look and I'm like, oh, it's fantasy. What kind of fantasy? Dragons in it?
All right.
Is it doing something else other than dragons? Like,
Can
that's
I
kinda how
romance
I
the
go.
dragon?
Yes, romancing the dragons immediately makes it a must play. But that's just me and that's my story, and we'll leave that off of the podcast. So, yes, also I think Mare City would be cool though, because the possibility of a dragon spaceship would also be really good.
I mean,
So
that'd
that's
be nice, too.
that's my final word.
We
and I
have
just want to
the
leave on that.
dragon mech mount, and like nobody else in here was excited about it. Now you want a dragon spaceship?
I
wasn't
mean,
excited because I would have to do all the dragons, and I don't want to do that.
I mean, that
That's the
doesn't
only
negate the fact that it's like a dragon
Oh, I
mech
said it was
thing with
cool,
like
yeah.
missiles. Well, that's right. That's right. You were the only other one. Rook and Zen were just like,
I don't so much like the mecha dragon, but the idea of space adventures with dragons does kind of sound wacky and fun. But I think
wanna
you're
see
right, Moose. It's going to probably be
and
New
we
World.
we did have that what the heck Omega thing in the benchmark. I mean, if that's not saying like, hey, remember dragon stuff? Like,
I just want to see the true practitioners of blue magic and how they weaponize it. Because right now it's a sideshow.
Yeah,
Right.
And
I think that
wanna
would be
see
really
what they
interesting.
actually use it for, right? What did we adapt it from?
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Especially given the diversity of the Mamalja nation and like how many different, beasts of burden that they've been able to tame and kind of bring into that society. I bet their empire is pretty big here compared to 11.
Let's go to
too, 'cause, I
Mamook.
mean, we haven't heard about much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mamook is going to be cool. So
that 11
I think that's
throwback.
definitely an option.
Remember we
Yeah.
had it was so weird when 2.0 came up. It was like, wait, why are there Mamulja? That's okay. That's an 11. They're just kind of there too, right? They're not even like one of the big like beast.
We didn't get a
tribes.
good explanation.
They're just
at
kind of
first.
there. And then like there was one of the fruits for, I think it was like one of the pears for like chocobo coloring.
Yep.
Like mentions like Mamook, which was like the capital for the Mamulja in Ottergon for 11. And it's just like, what? You're just gonna like willy-nilly throw this? All right. Yeah, I'd love to go over there and see this huge nation, because I mean it was a pretty like beefed out area too that they had. All the beast tribes in 11 had like these strongholds and stuff, and yeah, I think it'd be really interesting. And now that chat says Whitegate music begins playing, I'm gonna have that stuck in my head for the rest of the day. That is one of my favorite tracks from 11.
I fought to be one of the first blue mages on Besaid. Like, I was right there, I was ready, and I got it super early.
I was one of the
love
first
Blue Mage
puppet
11.
masters after giving the job so much crap, and then I upgraded my frame, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what is that?" I'm like, "Puppet master."
Final Fantasy 11 things. I definitely know about
So
them.
it sounds like a quick update from Zen. Apparently, her computer decided now is a really great time to do a Windows update. So I don't
can
know.
See one sitting down in a corner in mine too. So
yeah. I don't know how long she'll be, but the show must go on.
Exactly.
So when she comes in, we can. I have buttons. We can just move the cams, and it'll be fine. For now, everybody else will be somebody else, but I will forever remain me. Because that's just.
I started looking around. I started looking around for my glasses, and they're not in the room today.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna put them on
You're
for
like
Alpha,
panicked. You're
no.
like, oh, I'm like, is everything okay?
I don't have a tinfoil hat for Zen.
It's okay.
Do you have a fish? Do you have a fish nearby? That's a Zen thing. You don't have. Okay. I don't know why anybody would, but she does.
Should we do another question? What do we think?
We'll do one more spin. We'll see if Zen comes back, but we'll ask us a question.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna pull up first thing that comes to my mind. How did you choose your guardian deity in the game, and have you ever changed it?
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
I picked Halone.
Mhm.
And I think I just liked that it was like the spears and stuff. Because obviously, like, my main forever has been Dragoon, right? Until
Right.
Shadowbringers, where they made Machinist awesome. And so I was like, yeah, like spears and stuff. And that was kind of it. And I've never changed it.
So, for me, I picked Ashan the Wanderer because in my mind, my character was this Ishgardian person who wasn't really in the line for his home. So he left, went on adventures. He really identified with the Wanderer. He also was mining, that sort of thing. So I was like, and then I started to look into it and his kind of little bit of background with Halone. And I was like, that's the one. That's the one that I want. I have to have. Yes, that's the one that I'm going to go with. So that's why I picked.
This is wild. I also picked Halone.
Yeah.
I mean, my reasons I think are less, well, I don't know, it depends. They're probably less thought through though, because anytime that you have anything and they're like, here's a whole bunch of options of like people to pick between. I'm like, cool, what do we got? And they're like, this one's the nerdy one, all about knowledge. I'm like, oh, that's fun. I like knowledge. It's pretty cool. It's like, this one's the nature one, all about like the natural world, like being a druid and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then when they have one that's like, this is just like a really powerful woman with a spear and muscles for days, and she could crush you and probably would crush you and would step on you. I'm like, oh, this is the one that I am choosing then.
Right.
So
That's
I'm
that's on
pretty
brand for
sure
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's on brand for me. But also I guess I just oftentimes like seeing strong, powerful lady deities. And I really like when they don't kind of lean into that stuff where it's like, I don't know. And then it's all of these gods, and then there's one and she's the goddess of peace. And I'm like, okay, peace my butt. Give me somebody that's like, give me like a goddess of vengeance or wrath or fury or like something like that. So Halone really, really fit into that for me. Although now, almost every character I've made since, I have made Azema. Because I'm a sucker for the possible Azem connection.
Sure.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. Now that we have that, right? Everyone's looking at their choice like, man.
Yep. How about you, Moose? What'd you pick? What's your pick?
Oh, we're getting some feedback.
Well, we're getting like mic through mic through Zed.
Echo.
We're good for now.
Oh.
You're the only one. Oh.
Fixed it.
Oh.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. There it is.
Did we? I think we did it. I think we're good.
Welcome back, Zen.
She's
Maybe
still there.
you look very concerned. Your face looks very concerned.
She's having issues. Uh-oh.
Yes, I have server muted you just because we're getting an echo through you.
Oh, so
That's
you did it.
Yes, I did that. Yeah, because if I unmuted it, we'll get the echo. I can fix it. I'm sorry.
Everything
production
was going
manager, so I
so
just did it.
smoothly. And then Windows is like, I would like to update.
Windows
Yeah,
is like, hey, you need Windows 11.
The nerve of
Don't you want
Windows.
I love that Fusion was worried about like getting all the guests in and out and all this stuff, and then what actually happens is that Windows just decides to update.
And what happens
drag racing
is
starts
Zen
happening
just
outside my
leaves.
window. All right.
We will figure that
Hopefully
out. Okay, I think while we get this settled here, Moose, let's go ahead. We'll do your giveaway question here again. Chat. First person in the chat to answer this question, we will send you a game time code for Final Fantasy XIV. So Moose, take it away.
Okay, my question is, what was Louisoir's specialty as an Archon? What was he an Archon of? And if you actually get the word for this correct, as opposed to just kind of what it is, you will have my eternal respect. But I don't expect many people know that word.
I will say, this was one question. I was like, yeah, Moose, come up with the question. Not even like thinking about like how like lower deep this could be. And I saw this question. I was just like, oh. As Zen waves to the camera.
Oh wow.
Oh, she's gonna.
Holy
right,
crap.
this makes sense. I know. Stuvington's got it.
Really? I love it.
Wow.
Yep. The answer is exegesis. It's only really used as like a kind of a strong word. I think is in the German client, but his specialty is the study and interpretation of ancient prophecies and historical texts. And they focus a lot on him studying and knowing prophecy, but they very rarely use that word just because nobody really knows that word.
That's super cool.
That's cool.
Makes a lot of sense for him too.
Well done. 17, we will get you that code over via Twitch Whisper. Zen's here, kind of. She'll make sure that gets over to you. I can't tell if she's just standing still or if she's frozen. Nope, she's gone.
Frozen. We
All
lost
right.
her.
That's
Oh no.
it was the second one. Uh-oh.
Or Zen.
Oh, and she's back. But is she really back?
We're not getting an echo. You are now unmuted.
Hello?
Can you
Words?
hear,
Say
can
words?
we hear you?
Can you say words?
Oh, I don't think
she can
She
hear
can't
us.
hear us?
I don't think she can hear our words. All right. So let's go ahead. I know we did slip a little bit back in the schedule. Moose, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Congrats on 200 episodes, man.
I mean, you're part of it. You are a big part of that.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
appreciate
I've
you
been
having.
a part of like 10.
There's like 14 lorecasts now. We like doubled the number of lorecasts in the past.
Don't worry.
I know.
We'll make that Lorecast hit 200 before you know it.
Congratulations on the other 95% that I had nothing to do with, where you did all the work.
Where can people find you? What do you have going on? Anything new?
I mean, I pretty much still everywhere. I still lurk the forums. I'm still mostly responding to anything I get on Discord or Twitter. Just at Anonymoose XIV on Twitter, or find me on Discord. You just annoy my DMs however you want.
I mean, that's all right. You heard him.
That's pretty much how anybody gets a hold of me these days.
That's dangerous because I got a lot of spiral theories
Oh,
that
no.
I need to run by you.
We will do that. We will. Have we? It's been a while since we just did a pure lore craft episode. I think the last one we did was was that the one where like people sent in weird ideas and we had to like make them fit into the lore, right? So like we had to be like, okay, how would Seinfeld work? How would a Seinfeld collab work? I think that was the one that I spent the most time talking about. But yeah, I think between now and November, there absolutely will be some spiral talk. So Rook's got, I've seen it. She's got a whole notebook. It's like this thick, just of ideas. Oh, was I not supposed to tell them about the notebook? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a secret.
She
You weren't supposed
doesn't
to
have
tell
a
me what.
notebook of spiral ideas.
It's a spiral ring notebook, right?
That was about
Of course it is, obviously.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to grab our next guest. So we will be back here in a minute.
I'm dying. I'm dying.
And we're back.
Oh my gosh!
And
you guys just missed the best part.
Thankfully, chat, you missed some things.
Some stuff.
It's okay.
But we're all back. Zen's mic is working.
Me going, what the?
Welcome back, Zen.
Thanks, Windows
Thanks,
Update.
guys.
Welcome
All
back.
right, joining
Welcome
us,
back,
we have
Brian.
returning Brian.
Feels like I'm
What?
coming home.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's
I
been too
know.
long. It's been too long. It's the we were talking and it really comes down to, man, I miss doing the podcast on Saturdays, but I've been taking kids to the pool, doing the dad thing, like the weekends are just that. But I've got a bunch of y'all's episodes, the doubling y'all's lore cast. So I've been going to the gym and just catching up, and it's been great.
It's good to
So
have you
really,
back.
those lorecasts, we're just like 3 hours of content at a time for Brian.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right.
Yeah,
We
Just
personally like
getting that elliptical, like
yeah. In our notes, we're like, okay, got to make it roughly 3. Brian said needs a better workout next time, so
That's
we'll
right.
go ahead and extend it. But I mean, the same goes to you with everything you've been doing with work to game, and I mean, it's
Thank
just
you.
amazing to get to see your content all over, wherever it is.
Yeah, everywhere. Somebody was like, so like as you grow, and I'm sure y'all, you can experience the anti-fan at some point, like
Sure.
where it's like, and so we literally have had people come in and say, I've told YouTube to block every bit of your network, every last bit of it, and I'm still seeing you guys everywhere. And then we reply going, that's why we keep asking for more content creators, because we don't want to be in your feed if you don't want to see us, but there's just not enough. Like we just, and so more people are coming online now, which is really, really fantastic. to
That's
see,
when you just go,
especially the growth.
thanks for being a fan.
Yeah. It's like, all right, man. Like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I don't know why you just clicking on this video means you're going to see more of our stuff now. So
That's how the things work. I don't. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna run through some questions here. We'll give this wheel a spin. We'll see where it lands. Number 9.
Ooh.
What is your favorite in-game furniture item?
That's such a horrible question to ask me. Like I didn't even decorate my house. I had other people decorate it for me. I guess I would say the just the fire pit, essentially, because I love that we have that. We bring that out into the house, not inside the house, but outside the house occasionally, and sit around the fire. And I think essentially that
Okay,
is
so
something
the
very
outdoor fire pit, not the indoor Hingen fire pit.
No, I
But,
don't think I've even seen. I've seen that one. So at the end of the day, like I like that I have a house, and I'm so sad that I have a house to a degree, because I know there are people who want a house, and there's a privilege that I have in that regards of just going and saying, well,
They take a look at your yard and they're like, I'm gonna have to call the homeowners association on this guy.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Like let's foreclose
He's
on
got
this
a
thing,
fire pit.
please.
He hasn't mowed the lawn in months.
Yeah,
It's a dangerous thing, though, to have all that unmowed grass and a fire pit right in the middle of it.
Dangerous.
You gotta be careful.
I'm a danger to society. Just speaking of that, like all the stuff you see on my wall, I didn't do that. Like that is not a skill set that I have, and so I didn't bring that. I did not translate that into video game house decorating. I'm just a homeowner who sucks at it.
I'm with
I
you.
have a
I don't even-
house that is decorated inside to look like a boat, and I'd like to think it's pretty cool looking. I get comments from people like, "Oh, the inside of your house is really great, but could you decorate your yard?" I'm like, "No, I was here to decorate a boat. I made a boat to RP in. I wasn't concerned about the yard." Or I'll have people come in and be like, "I was really angry because I thought this was an empty house with nothing in the yard, but then I saw the inside and I liked that." And I'm just like, I guess
You should
You
should
need
just
to
put
get
one
the
really
the
weird thing in
tallest,
the
most obnoxious furniture items. Get like the big Namazu Burning Man idol.
what I
Like,
might do, and what people have
That's
suggested
such a
is
good
like
one.
get the coral, just like put the coral out there and like get some of the gravel and like dye it blue and stuff. Then it's water.
or
It's
just
the
or
most
just
water.
just 10 giant burning Namazu effigies.
no.
Just all over the
Stuck
yard.
on that.
I like the idea of the fire pit, though, Brian. That one's awesome, because you're right. Like there are certain furnishing items that just make you feel like this is a hub for us. Like this is a place
Yeah.
where we can just hang out.
100%. And so, but it's interesting. It just like, I love looking at other people. Like one of the content that I love to consume is just like housing tours, because people are so incredible when it comes to like taking that system and really just expanding on it. So people will like, hey, come check out my house. And I walk in and there's a bar and there's a dancer. And then like this, I'm like, this is incredible. How long have you spent on this? Like 300 hours. I'm like, wow. Like I don't have that kind of. I have not done like 300 hours worth of something in this game since since the original story, etc. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't have that skill. I don't own anything, not an in-room or not a apartment, not a room in an FC house. I just don't. I just do not engage with it.
For me, like I like to decorate. I don't think like I'm not doing like some of the crazy stuff that you see online.
No, but I've watched your
right?
streams though. That like literally, you're streaming and you're building walls and you're doing this. I think it's been
every
at
so
least a year
often I'll
since
do
that,
like a
yeah.
chill housing stream, but like it's one of those things. It's the same as like leveling a job, right? Where it's like I'll meld stuff and worry about the hot bar fine tuning after I get 80, right?
Yeah,
I'll worry about
exactly.
house decorating when I get a bigger house. It's like because I have a small house, so I'll start doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I just want more room.
I love housing and I love working on housing. The problem is always time because it does take forever when you're having to do the glitches and things.
Yes.
And then also the fact that I am so bad at letting go of things that I spent that time on. So like I have a design that's in my apartment that I really like, but I never want to tear it down. And I'm like, I want to do something else with that apartment, but then I go in there and I just stand in there and I'm like, but I spent so long on this. I don't want to have to redo it, you know? So it's tough because I feel like what I really need is just 50 houses, and then I can decorate all of them. And by the time I hit 50, I'll probably be sick of the first design that I did, so I'll get rid of that one.
all of a sudden, Rick becomes an omnicrafter.
Yeah.
I can't afford to buy all of the furnishings for my house. I'm just gonna make them now.
Not gonna lie, that's why I'm an omnicrafter, so I can make all the furniture.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and give this wheel another spin.
That wheel.
7. Why do you play the jobs that you do?
Oh, that's a great question. So, coming from like 1.0, I was, playing a white mage, which was kind of inherited of, Final Fantasy 11. I started out as a tank in 11 as a warrior, and it was like my first MMO. Had no idea what I was doing, and eventually I realized like there was a need for healing, so I was like, I'll go play as a white mage. And when I came into, Final Fantasy 14, that seemed to make sense. Well, white mage didn't exist obviously at the start of 1.0, but ultimately I was kind of just playing it and leveled up everything in the course of 1.0's history. So when 2.0 dropped, I actually did Arcanist through the story, Summer Scholar, because I wanted to experience it from that. But easily just kind of find myself defaulting back into a white mage, and then I've shifted my tanks each and every expansion. So I'm gun breaking now as my tank, and I'm struggling with summoner, struggling greatly. I put, I think, 2 months of work into the controller guide alone.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, I don't like it, but I finally found something that A, was very comfortable, but B, that I was also getting really good parses on. And then in C, like I was like doing all this work and I was like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Now you can actually like it. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, they have to delete stuff. They're like, this isn't working, where before it did. But this entire expansion right now, like my furthest I've done more relic work in Shadowbringers than I had done previously. And so I'm on the final step for the white mage, which is incredible. So if I cross over this finish line, it will be my first relic in the game that I, because everything I was like, no, I'm doing it. And then it's like, whatever. It's like, I'm good. Like, I don't need it. But now I'm just kind of like, I have a long time to Endwalker. What am I going to do? I was like,
I hate myself. I think I started my 5th and 6th resistance weapon.
I have all of them actually, except for like when it comes to the different stages they're in.
Yeah.
So it's like everything's kind of moving up in these different stages, and I'm kind of, I don't know, kind of having a good time with that. But I would say, like, if you were going to say, well, Brian, what's your main? And it would be a white mage right now. And a lot of that stemmed from like, hey, I would like to party. And it's like, oh, what do you need? A healer? Oh, we always are looking for healers in 11.
We would like to not die. Can you assist with that?
Yeah, I was good at that. I didn't understand the tanking mechanics at first. I was like, I don't want to provoke. Like, why do I want the monster hitting me? Like, this is silly.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, yeah. If like Brian the Noob back in the day.
I mean, and that's even when 11 was such a more flexible game too. Like you could be a warrior tank, but you could also be like a ninja tank or a monk tank.
Oh yeah.
I healed a Sky Farm run on Dragoon sub Blue Mage.
Dude, Dragoon sub Blue is so much fun.
Somebody died and I couldn't raise them.
Sucks to suck, man. It's like, hey, sorry, dude. times. Good times.
All right,
Yeah,
let's go ahead here. Give this another spin. Question 3. Have we had 3?
I don't think so.
We have
No.
not had 3, and this is a great question for Brian.
Oh wow.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
like the Brian question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If ever
this
there
is
was
great.
one. What
So,
kind of
yeah.
advice do you have for someone wanting to get into content creation?
Do it and stop asking and just do it. Like that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is posting their first video. Ignore people who are going to throw hate your way. Take and listen to any bit of critique. But there's actually a formula to it. At least right now, algorithms change. So like if you're listening to this in 2030, I don't know, this is relevant, but over the last couple of years, like we kind of like I didn't go and know what I was doing. I was just kind of making stuff. I started podcasting and as a part of this podcast was just some of the best years of my life. And then going into kind of just like making guides, and essentially what you don't have to make guides, but it is that you have to give some value to the viewer or the listener, and it has to be discoverable. Those both have to be true. Otherwise, like I see a lot of people that they ask that question, hey, I want to get into streaming. Like, okay, focusing on discoverable, valued content for who you want to attract, because a lot of people who don't do that and they just jump into streaming, nothing wrong with it. But if you want to get into the content creation and really get into that, you're only discoverable when you're live, when you're streaming, and for however long that is. That's the only time people will find you. You got to have a discoverable platform that's going to essentially kind of have it 24/7, 365, because I would suspect you're not a wealthy billionaire like nobody here. So
like all of
you
us.
have a job, like all of us billionaires. Like you have a job to go to. You've got responsibilities to go to. Live can't always be true because you're going to run into your own physical limitations, and that's just going to be something where you don't need to have that mental battle with yourself. Let the algorithms do the work for you, and that's value-driven content that's discoverable. So think how people search, not what you know. The other piece of advice I say is this. People don't know what you know. I see it 100% of the time. People don't know what you know, but you assume they do, so you don't make it. 1,000 or 100,000 people are waiting and asking the same question, and there's nobody answering it, and you actually have the answer, but you're assuming they already know what you know, and that's just not true. Every one of us here had different parents. We've all had different life experiences. We have different cultural backgrounds. We think and ask, and we type into Google differently. Just make it. Just hit publish, and if you like it, keep hitting publish. If you don't, then and then go do whatever you want to do in that regard.
Just Shia LaBeouf it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Such amazing advice, really.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly is. It's amazing to me because I think I kind of, like I came into content creation very ambiguously, like you were saying, where you kind of like pop in and you're like, I think this is something I want to explore. And for me, it was always more about that performance element because I was coming from a theatrical background. So learning
you and me, thespians for life.
Yes. So like learning things like that, I started to realize the power of my own searching, right?
Yeah.
Like if you start in your mind thinking about the things that you hit like on, that you retweet, if you start thinking about the things that you search in on YouTube or that you had questions about, or you start hearing questions from people, thinking about how you engage with, a platform, the internet, a game, that kind of thing. That is what gives you the like key to unlocking that element that you were talking about, Brian, that discoverability, right?
Mm-hmm.
That thing that there is a lot of people who are looking for it. And because of that, things like algorithms push that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it is like demand, like this is the demand for X, Y, or Z. So a lot of times people, I think, do come in maybe more with that creative or like they're passionate about the game or I get so, this is something everybody, nobody really, except for a few people, very lucky people, will come into content creation and be able to pay their bills, right?
Right.
So
right.
like banking
I'm
finances.
not even paying my bills with content creation.
Yes.
I'm just,
Yeah. It's like banking your financial well-being on something like that right off the get-go is never a good move. But if you start approaching it more systematically, if you start looking and breaking down what makes up content creation, before you know it, you can find your own success in it. It's just learning those things.
And then there's a big part of it. I want to talk about two other kind of key pieces, the math behind it in this regards. Worked a Game kind of stumbled into it. Like we were just like, hey, let's talk about Destiny, let's talk about Final Fantasy, and my mom watched those videos, right? Like we had no concept of what the value is. We're like, oh, we have interesting thoughts, and that's the thing. Everybody has interesting thoughts, but traditionally, you're like, are you interested in somebody with like 0 followers? Is their thought? They might have the most profound thought, but immediately there's a mental kind of like, I don't know who this, like who's this person, and why does their opinion matter? And then the second side of it is that, so we kind of just stumbled into it, and just with like, I started making controller guides. Zenidra just like challenged me to put back in 2.0 Black Mage on one hotbar because we didn't have the expanded cross hotbar, we didn't have the double cross hotbar, and I said challenge accepted, and people hated me for it. But I loved that video because I had to use macros. Like there was no other thing. But I was like, all right, like it literally affects like nobody unless you're going to go into Savage, and then it's like, why would you be doing this on a controller in 2.0? And it was a whole different time, a whole new world is what we exist in today. But so then people started discovering in that regards. The question I always ask is, did we get lucky? Did we have lightning in a bottle? It's like, did this just stumble and all of a sudden this kind of blow up? And so I put it to the test. I literally said, I was like, I'm going to start another channel, and I'm just going to not tell people about it. I'm just going to follow those rules, value driven, discoverable content. And the third metric that I put, and you don't have to apply this to yourselves, listeners, I say it's not about me. Like, it's not about Brian. I am pointing to something. I try to point to another creator in a lot of videos. Like, hey guys, you should also check out so-and-so. I reference Gamerscape all the time. So it's like, I was like, yeah. And like for 14, like, guys, you got to check out Gamer, always trying to point, because it's like, I'm not trying to make it about me. I'm trying to make it about something else. And because I think there's the second topic that I want to talk about is the mental health of content creation, right? It's like there is a, that you have to kind of like, how can you manage this so you're not letting it destroy you or like, control you in that regards. And you can find yourself finding highs and lows. So if you're bipolar, I would be very cautious about stepping into this, because I'm not bipolar, but it's like, you can still like get addicted to the dopamine and the highs, and oh man, people really like that video, and then all of a sudden you find that the algorithm kind of shifts on you, because it changes, and you might find yourself like, why am I feeling down or blue? So you gotta sit here, and that's kind of why I made that rule of it's not about me, so that if the content doesn't do well, it's not a directly reflection of who I am as a person. And then also deleting Twitter and off your phone is a huge benefit. Because like all of a sudden, like you start losing all this time, because you're like, you can get, and it's like, no, what, like it's over there. I want to be with my family. And then it's like, I do like to sit down and try to craft things that I think and hope that people like and get something out of in that regards. And it's fun. Like it's a lot of fun. And so I highly encourage more people to do it. And people say, back to the, the one of the big kind of things that I get asked is like, hey, can I do a controller guide, Brian? Like, absolutely. Like, I don't own that. You take them over, do them, like, and I'm completely fine with, like, I'll go do something else if I feel like making something else. But like, don't feel like just because somebody's like, oh, Brian does this or Work the Games kind of already got that. Like, no, do it. Just right. Yeah, back to it. Just do it.
You will always have a different take on it than the person that you got the idea from. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, even if you're worried, right, you can be like, hey, I also, do that pointer. I think it's essentially where what I like about YouTube is that it's collaborative in nature. Podcasts are collaborative in nature. It's not competitive. Like, your video could recommend my video recommends yours. When Larry's our posts on YouTube, like, we get a lot more views on our videos, because YouTube's like, hey, have you seen what Work the Game's up to, or have you seen what Ginger Prime's up to, etc. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's not competitive. If you're worried, you can always reach out, but honestly, like, go and make whatever you feel like making, especially when it's rooted in that passion, right? There's so much awesome passion in this community. That's a long answer.
You are lucky that you are the last guest, because that would have been it. That would have been.
I will talk to you guys until text messages say, come change diapers.
Let's go ahead and pull up another question here. We'll do a couple more. What are you looking forward to in Endwalker?
Oh my gosh, Reaper and Sage. Sage, because we're gonna hopefully see a return of like Astrologian and Scholar. I felt like they got like completely, like, they got homogenized, right? So it's like, and then at the end of the day, like, I love my Scholar healer, But I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I'm having A, more fun on White Mage, and B, I'm just way better at White Mage. So it just kind of was like, well, Lightning is, quickest path, etc. Reaper just looks really cool, right? So I'm looking to see how that balances itself out. And then the third thing is I'm so excited to see the story conclude. As much praise as the story gets, right? And as much hate as anybody who skips the story gets in content creation. That's not me. Like, I've been
we're not referencing anybody that we've had on here today. We're just
not anybody. Well, like, also, like, outside of Galaxy, like Chris was in my friend at work name.
I mean, wow, I wasn't gonna drop a name, but
well, he's actually playing through the story now, and I think that's the genius of New Game Plus. New Game Plus frustrates me as a player, but it's so freaking smart because it's like, you know what? If you're not into story, you know what? Just play the game. You like the raids, that's great. And then all of a sudden, maybe you go, why am I fighting this big dragon? And you go, you know what? Let me find out. You have that tool. You don't have to start a new character. You don't have to do whatever. You can literally just kind of play the way you want. And then the game has the tools. And if you like story, then it's even better, right? You can just kind of, experience the story that way. But I'm excited that it has an ending. Because I think essentially one of the risks is like, do you go the Lost model where like you have like 5 good seasons and then you just okay, well, I don't know what's going on. Like, no, it's like
the
conclude.
benefit with Lost though, right? Was they went for so many years and then they said, okay, we're gonna put an ending point down. We're gonna spend some time. We're gonna answer some of these questions and then we're gonna end it as wildly as they did. It wasn't like a Twin Peaks season 2 cliffhanger, right? We're like, what's gonna happen? You'll know in 22 years when they bring it back for season 3.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Having definitive ends and things gives you room to create new starts, right? It gives you room to create new beginnings. And so in something like this, and in MMOs where that storytelling format is so unique compared to single player games, which are a sit down single experience, right?
Yeah.
In an MMO, we live years. We live portions of our lives playing this game. And because it has that kind of almost episodic nature with expansions, MMOs have tackled this in different ways. Do we make each expansion its own contained story? Well, then does that create a larger disconnect? Do we, let people jump wherever, but maybe lose out on the power of knowing these characters and building the stakes for X amount of seasons or expansions? Like, there's a lot of potential, and 14 did something so smart in which they took the risk to tell a story that is long. And again, like I said, I don't blame people that have trouble with dealing with the story in any way, shape, or form. And I hope that eventually they get to the point where they do find things they enjoy, because it was a big risk to be like, let's tell this all in one thing and connect it. But at the same time, you can't just do that forever. Or yes, like it starts to lose its momentum. You start to fall apart. You get weird question marks, and then you get some weird half ending. Like,
well, and things stop like having meaning, right? In that value, like, because there has to be weight. And, like, the story, like the events that have occurred have meaning and have value, and they are driving us somewhere. And at some point, that all is essentially like, okay, that's what this was, right? This is the experience. This is the story. And so, like with a character death or things like that, they're like, oh, that actually had meaning, as opposed to just like, okay, yeah, like somebody died, 50 years ago, and we're just like, okay, still on this track, and we don't really have this answer. And it's like at some point people get off the train. I think it's also helps reduce the intimidation factor for new players coming in, which right now with the latest surge in Final Fantasy is both exciting to see, but it's also like, yeah, guys, Endwalker concluding the story. Meaning, if you at that point are like, that was a great experience, you have a full, full serving. And maybe there's mysteries that are still unsolved, but those are fun. But I'm just saying, like, I'm really excited that Endwalker's doing that. And honestly, it's really unique, and I can't wait to see what happens after that.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I can remember going through Heaven's Word, and it's just like after like 3.0, then they're like, hey, here's a cutscene with an acid, and you're like, oh yeah. I remember them. And then it's just that whole Ascian arc, it just goes on, and it just drags so much. And it's just like every so often they're like, hey, Ascians.
Well, like in Stormblood, that was my biggest frustration with it, is like I didn't feel like we got Ascian progression. And then like I've rethought my entire view of Stormblood, because I was ultimately frustrated with it as an expansion. And then we were like, okay, we're going to go to the first. I was like, that's cool. And then I really enjoyed Shadowbringers. But with Bozja and that whole line with with Evil East and that whole line bringing it together, like you just factor that. I was like, oh, now we're actually getting what I would thought Stormblood was missing, was this war. Because I felt like, from a thematic perspective, I was like, we're going to war, and we never really had that. Oh, we just took back 2 nations from the Garlands, and it's like, oh, well, maybe we'll send a vice war.
That was totally war. You fought the birthday guy in the castle, and you broke the castle, and then there was the party in the salt fields.
Can we have that girl back?
Yeah.
that's your demand.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like, who? I was like, are they really even an empire? Or is this an illusion?
Right.
And then it's like, then you get Boshin, and it's like, okay, we're like, this is a war that's being fought. We're trying to liberate. We're like, I was like, yes. Now I think that kind of felt more complete. But yeah.
And Matsuno's gone.
I know. It's honestly so unfortunate to me that they developed the narrative devices that they did for Bozja after Stormblood.
Yeah.
Because if we had had stuff like in that zone in the locks, like these critical engagements, if there'd been an actual sense that you were fighting in a war-torn nation, right? Stormblood does a lot of things well, and there are, I think, very specific notable characters that are incredibly good from that expansion, and areas that are incredibly good from that expansion. But I totally agree with you, Brian. I think they super missed the mark on communicating a war and liberation story. You just don't get that feeling. And so it's been interesting watching it develop. I'd almost love to see them go back into Stormblood and put in some of the things, from Bozja.
Yeah, I think with Stormblood specifically, and I think what the issue ultimately was, right? You come from 1.0, right? Yoshida gets on the project. He's like, okay, this is what I inherited. So we'll go to Ishgard, because that was a thing in 1.0. You could actually look at Ishgard. It was there. You couldn't go to it. So we'll get that addressed. Alamigo was heavy in the lore. Okay, so we'll go there. But also Yoshida, at this point, he's like, I would also like to do my story. So he adds Doma. And I think that split focus made it so that neither one of those by itself was exceptional.
Right.
And so, you get Alamigo. Yeah, we're going to Alamigo. It's one dungeon. It doesn't really have that blend of Alamigan and Garlean architecture like we've been promising for the last several years. And so I think, but now with, we had Shadowbringers, and this was really the first, obviously with Doma and stuff, right? Yoshida's been in charge of this project for years. But with Shadowbringers, this was, I feel really the first time where Yoshida's like, this is the story that I want to tell. And he was able to just completely grab the reins for it and just go. And now he's like, okay, and now we're gonna wrap this up. We'll take a little bit of that stuff that I inherited, we'll wrap it up in a nice neat package, and then we'll start something new that'll be all me. And I think I'm really excited to see what that's gonna be. And then we have 16 on the horizon at some point too. So if you like Yoshida,
I do want to mention too, I think a really key part of this, and something as well, to get back to sort of where we were with the question, because I know all of us could talk at all time. We are just those kinds of people. But when we look ahead to this next expansion, the way it's going to bring things together and all the stuff to look forward to, I think we have so many key players and an evolution of understanding and how they convey narratives, very much spearheaded both by Yoshida-san and Ishikawa, who I think has been pivotal to realizing the vision for the game in a way that's very, very effective in its writing and its characterization. Those two stepping up to really be given, obviously Yoshida-san's been already, elevated from the get-go, but especially discovering and cultivating this talent within their own game that then has sort of made it what it is. I feel like we're just going up from here, they have so many things so well solidified that, you're talking about, Brian, how you're really looking forward to this culmination, this ending. And I feel like for the first time in almost any game that I've played, I'm like, I actually feel very good about the chances of this being incredible. I feel very good about them having learned from so much, and that this is going to be really, it's going to strongly deliver.
Going to stick the landing, right?
Yeah, I would say if Yoshida is the father of Final Fantasy XIV, Ishikawa is the mother of Final Fantasy XIV, and then Koji and Soken are the crazy fun uncles.
Yes, definitely.
We're so lucky, man. We're so lucky to have this and we have this experience, because we going through 1.0 to now, it's like it's been an insane journey that is just like, man, yeah. And here's to another, 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's to another one. Let's just keep going. Yeah, absolutely. Because the MMOs aren't just a game. They're a community. They're like a social group. There's all these wonderful things that, especially this last year with COVID, like we're also be able to continue to communicate and hang out and not feel so isolated. Like, wow, like this is great. It's maybe better. Like, I missed you guys. We couldn't do the fan fest thing this year. Like, if you're gonna, I don't know if the question was gonna come up. Like, what's your best memory? It's like hanging out with you guys, going to like the Gamerscape dinner, and just being at fan fest together. Like that was such a an amazing time. And it's like, yeah, maybe that will happen again. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
One of these days.
2023. One of these days.
We'll get back to it.
It'll happen.
Let's give the wheel another spin here and see.
Roundabout we
Question
go.
number 6. I love this one. Which NPC are you tired of seeing? And how would they go out in Endwalker? They don't have to die. I feel like I need to emphasize that. Everybody keeps giving me looks.
Easy answer, fan Daniel.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
fair.
like I don't like him. I didn't like him in Stormblood, even though it's the voice actor Asai. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but it's like, oh gosh, dude. Like, I'm hoping that like there's something there, and I would love. I'm also kind of like ready to like let's get this Xenos thing. He just seems so one-sided, and so it's like this whole pairing. I'm like, that's the challenge. Luke, we were just talking about like I have trust that I'm really excited about it, but why am I drawing a blank on his name? The villain within Shadowbringers.
Emmett Cell.
Emmett Cell, thank you. I was like Hades. I was like, okay, yeah. Like how essentially like he was written, and it was so wonderful, and I think he really like gave us a true moment of heroism. Like the way I connected with like that final thing was that when he was like, please remember us, and our hero acknowledges that as a gift to him. Yeah, we'll remember you in that regards, because that's what his fear was. I was just like, gosh, that was such a heroic moment, as opposed to be like, all right, F you, dude. Like, cause all the summer, like, just as that, like, all right, man. So it's I'm kind of curious, because so far I haven't gotten excited about them. I just like, all right, guys, like, let's just, and I'm really hoping that there is a Hydaelyn Zodiac focus in terms of that. Like, I'm just ready for that.
For me, Fandaniel and Xenos, it's such a like a Dark Knight villain relationship. You have like Fandaniel is like the Heath Ledger Joker, who's just like, I'm just gonna burn it all down, whatever, I'll die too, it's great. Yeah. And then you have like Xenos, who's like the Harvey Dent, and Fandaniel's like, hey, pick a new weapon. And then Xenos is like, yeah. So we'll see. I'm not expecting much, but if anybody can turn that around
super
for me.
hopeful. Yeah, no, with the team that has been working on this game, I as much as I don't like the characters as they are right now, I'm hopeful that they're gonna turn
If anybody can turn it around, it is Natsuko Ishikawa. I have zero doubts.
Yeah.
I hope so, because
100%.
I'm right there too. I feel like those two are top of my like, oh, I'm so not at all compelled by these two. Please just get them away from me. I don't
I'm really compelled by Fandaniel, not by anything that he's done or said, by what question he's not really the answer to this question, but all of the unsundered Asians are gone. What do the other ones do now? They have no leader. Do they
get killed by Thancred off screen? We've established that already at the end of Shadow.
But they're on every shard too. Like, what do they do now? I really hope that that's something we start talking about, because the first got absolutely messed up by them. Like, we were helping them. Are they still there?
Maybe after all the crazy stuff Elidibus did with the tower and the summonings and stuff.
Maybe they're not.
Maybe they just form like support groups and book clubs and stuff.
Yeah. That would be amazing to see. Like,
it's like the support groups in Avengers Endgame, right? You'll get like that shard's Warrior of Light just talking, sitting down in a circle with them, and
let's deprogram you, right? But that's the only reason I'm interested in him at all. Yeah, like, he hasn't really presented much that is interesting, but he's a great question to me.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. Brian, you have a question for the chat.
I do.
Because we still have game time codes to give away. And after this last one, we want to emphasize, just in case it wasn't probably somewhat obvious, since we are an NA podcast based on an NA website where all of us are NA. These are for NA time codes, unfortunately. So,
sorry.
You're free to enter, but you know, if you're Europe or you know, outside the US, they won't work for you. So give them to an
But you
FC
give
mate
to
or
a friend.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a heads up. So, first person in the chat to correctly answer this, we'll send you a time code. So, Brian, go ahead and take it away.
All right. So in 1.0, we had two dungeons I'm going to focus in on for this. We had Cutter's Cry and Arm Veil. What was the end game drop for gear for 1.0 that you could get from those dungeons? And it's currently still in game today. That gear.
I still
It's just not in those
have
dungeons.
some of those pieces. Every so often, I think like I should do like a dress it up as like a Halloween costume one year. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm 1.0.
Someone got it.
Color of
immediately.
Sakura
Color of
got it
Sakura.
right
Yeah.
away. I think that might be even quicker than the other question that we had that was answered like right away.
Yeah.
So congrats, Color of Sakura. We will send you a Twitch whisper here and get you that time code. So Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So great
Yes,
to catch
thank
up. It has
you.
been a long time.
Yeah.
What are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Work to Game and on Ginger Prime. Work to Game, we try to post like a video once a day, just kind of discussion topic about what's going on in the community or covering kind of the news of Final Fantasy per our usual. And Ginger Prime is my personal channel, which that I've been covering Final Fantasy 14. I post my guides over there, and I also been excited and been covering New World. So you can find me over there on YouTube, and I occasionally stream. I pop in, and then we just have fun. So that's what I'm doing. That's where you guys can find me.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. That was it. So Brian, we're gonna go ahead and let you go here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll,
Thanks, guys.
Brian, before you
Thank
go,
you.
I really
Oh.
want us to do another if you were the producer.
Yeah.
oh gosh, yes.
Yes, please. We have to.
I have
Sometime in the future.
I have a birthday coming up, so I could probably like request like a Saturday, because that's that's one of the reasons why I had to step away from the show is like
Yeah.
Saturdays are just hard. It's like they weren't when I didn't have kids, and now it's like, all right, okay, if we could move it and so let me know, because I would love to come back. We haven't finished that.
I know, not at all.
It's
I don't
years in
even
the
think-
making.
I don't even think I got to do one with you.
No, you
No.
This
did
has
not.
been my greatest regret.
You-
I met you and Chris
were our
after you
Brian
were,
replacement.
yes,
Yes.
like after you were off the show, and it was so funny because I started talking to both of you, and then I went, "Wait, hold on, that's the same Brian that was the."
Yeah.
It's like it's always great to get to talk with you and on the cast and wherever, but
Yeah, there wasn't
would do
even
that.
like any overlap. Like we couldn't bring you in so he could train his replacement. Like it's just
No.
Yeah, it was a hard call, like having to
Yeah.
step away, but just I think for me it was the right one with the
Yeah.
family, and I'm just so happy for you guys, and
and
all
it's
y'all's
only getting
continued
bigger. I
success.
feel like every time we talk to you, it's like, yep, we're gonna have another one.
The joke has always been when Brian starts another channel, it means I'm having a new kid. But no, we're right now, just so everybody knows, just to be clear, we're at 5. We're very happy with the size. We always wanted a large family. And I have said to my wife that I was like, if she ever says like she wants another baby, my answer is already yes. Like I want to put that thought out of her head. But we also might adopt. Like, that's something that
Sure.
is on the table. But I tell you hands down, it is chaos. And chaos got to go find him and kill him. But it's so worth it. Maddie is 7, and that's gonna make everybody here feel old because you
Oh
only
my
had
God,
when
stop
she was
it.
born.
Yeah,
I know.
wow.
And so, but her and I playing like Mario together.
Oh, that's
We're doing
great.
Pokemon together. And she's made a Final Fantasy 14 character, and she's learning how to kind of run around in this space. And my whole plot now is, okay, my raid team, I'm farming them up. I'm gonna be ready in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a long play. It's not cheap at all by any means. But guys, you just get like at some point they're like, how's this guy got so much skill and he's got all the gear? It's like I got a whole team, and they live with me. And if they want to eat,
Exactly.
Wow, that guy.
You disconnect.
get
All
your
of you
homework.
disconnect.
Yeah, get your homework done because it's raid night, and a family that slays together stays together.
That's
I
great.
love it.
love it,
Yes.
love it.
amazing.
That's great.
All right, we'll leave on
thank
that
you so
note,
much,
yeah.
That
Brian.
was a great note.
Take care, and we'll see you later, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. So that I gotta do cams now. Yay, I did cams. So it was all one button. I did it. It works.
I'm real proud.
Yay!
I felt so
Yeah.
bad when my computer went off. I was like, Fusion right now is crying because the
you
camera's
should.
messed up.
but it's okay.
You shouldn't.
You should,
Be
but it's
angry
okay.
at Windows. Make
I mean,
Windows
We were trying.
feel bad.
We were trying to decide like how I didn't move, but everybody else shifted. So we're like, okay. Rook was trying to find some glasses. I think it was Aldino. Were you Zen?
Yeah,
And you were like, you're like, okay, I don't have a tinfoil hat. I'm like, well, do you have a? I'm like, do you have a fish? There it is.
Got nothing.
She's reaching for it. There's
Yes.
the fish.
Can you believe? I mean, I can't even believe coming into the show just a couple years ago to think that you've been doing this all the way back to 11. I mean, even, before when you had different casts or when you all came together. I mean, it's amazing to be able to, from my own personal standpoint, come into something like this. And, gosh, I can't even hope to fill the beanie of Brian, but to do the best that I can and talk about this game that we love. I mean, it's just incredible to even be here to celebrate 200 episodes with all of you. So
It's crazy.
thank you for all the episodes before I even came on and everybody who's listened. And it's been great to even be a part of it. It's just what a huge landmark.
Yeah, and I think, but before we go, and I know we are at 3.5 hours. I think we need to spin the wheel once for each of us.
Okay.
I think
let's do it.
that's only fair.
I
So
got it.
who
Let's do it.
who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right,
All right.
Zen, let's bring up the wheel. Question number 9. What is your favorite in-game furniture item? This is great because this was your question.
It was. And you know what? I didn't think of an answer because I didn't think I would have to answer.
Love it.
Shoot.
We're so prepared.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go roll crazy. Marble partition.
Ooh,
All
versatile.
right.
By crazy, I mean like you wouldn't expect it, but
Sure.
just partitions in general. You can do so much with them.
I mean, you can if you have a house that's not a small. If you use a partition in a small. I mean, you can,
put it
but
in the
like.
wall.
Okay, no,
You can make-
Fusion, you're wrong on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can make like all kinds of interesting things with partitions, just clipping them into the wall and like
You can do a
floating
little
them.
bit.
And
Yeah.
It's a little harder with the small, especially I will give you this. In the basements, in some of them, it's
Oh,
very difficult to get the
that-
stupid walls into the
That
stairwell
damn
area.
basement.
trying to think if there's a thing I put in every house. I don't think I love so many of the furniture pieces. I don't know why I didn't think about what my favorite was, but just like anything that you can sort of take and use across all houses. Partitions,
kinda those-
especially like, the arch ones are nice. I like those.
Those foundational pieces, right?
Yes, foundation. That's a good way to cover it. Stages. I like stages a lot.
Right.
Or lofts.
Mm.
Yep.
They're good.
Who wants to go next?
Sure, I'll do it.
He said reluctantly. He's like, yeah, I guess I'll go.
No, I just didn't want to cut in line if someone wanted to go next.
That's fair. Kind of in the middle, 11 or 12.
Have we had both of them?
Yes.
Okay, then either one. 11 is fine.
All right. What is your favorite piece to use in glamour?
That's a very interesting question for me because I don't.
I would have had an answer for that.
Yeah, I don't super do a lot of glamour, and it's very weird. But yes, specifically, the original AF Summoner boots. I really like the style of the leather, like thigh boot with the brown leather also. So like you can dye it black and it looks amazing. The only bad thing about the Summoner AF1 is that the little interior like white pieces on the gold filigree do not dye. So you can dye the whole thing black, but
There's always that
inside of
one little piece that's just
it's
like
they just
nah.
needed to use that magic wand tool and just get
They-
that
they-
part out.
They did like a controller, a shift click. They didn't do just like a select all when they went to make the die models for that one.
Yeah. The Evoker's ring bands, the gloves are also great too. They're kind of wraps, you know. The only problem is the cuff is white, but you can get around that. So yeah, the original Summoner gear I use so often.
I'm that way too. Like 90% of my Dragoon Glamours have the AF1 helm. It just
They're
fits
good pieces.
with so many things.
Right.
All right. Rook, it's you and me. Ladies
I can go,
first.
but you want, and that way you can wrap it up. I'll go next.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's give the wheel a spin and we'll see what we get. Number 10. When answering dialogue choices in Final Fantasy XIV. This is a good one for you. Do you answer as yourself or do you answer as your character?
My character. Yeah. I mean, a lot of you know I role play, so there is that. But it is funny because I think a lot of times I feel a separation between a role-playing character and a character that's my main, if that makes sense. Because sometimes the story may not be exactly what you envision specifically for that character. So my like recent when I started the game, I've actually I've only ever had 3 looks for my main character. So my original character was a character named Varahi Sugriva. It's all the same character, I just changed their name and appearance every now and then. And I kept Varahi forever, and she was very much like my canonical Warrior of Light. So for me, it was like one and the same, responding as her. I wasn't role-playing her or anything like that. Like, her story was that story. And then on a whim, I kind of changed it for just like 2 weeks. I went Midlander for like 2 weeks because I had a moment where I was like, maybe I should make my streaming avatar kind of look like me. And so then I, went Midlander and tried to sort of make it look like me. And then I was like, that was a garbage idea. Get the hell out. And I got rid of that because I just like playing a character that feels different for me. So then I ended up with my bun because Fran's one of my favorite characters. And so we went for Valka. And it's so funny because I go back and forth on this all the time, honestly. I don't see her as a Warrior of Light. I do role play her, but not as a Warrior of Light. And yet she's my main character. So I do respond with her in character, but at the same time, it feels different to me in some way. It almost feels like I'm play acting at play acting.
She's the warrior of varying varying levels of brightness.
Yes, like,
But she's playing the role in the story, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, she's just pretending to be the Warrior of Light.
It's like Super Mario 3. The whole thing's actually a stage play.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and plus because I do those fully voiced runs that I started working on YouTube now, I voiced her as well, which I actually find really fun to do. So it would be hard for me to switch, I think, at this point. But it is kind of funny because, yeah, I guess I view her differently than a lot of my other characters.
All right, we'll give the wheel a spin here. What are you gonna give me, wheel?
It's gonna get the Urianger question.
Yeah. So this is funny. I added a stat weight because this is the one I wanted to. This is the only time I've manipulated the wheel. I want to be. Wow. I want to be clear. I did. I tried to cheat, and it was super obvious. So I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen, and I will give it a legit spin.
Oh no, that's fine.
I will give it.
What was the question you got?
You're the one who's been here from the beginning, so I guess
you know,
200 episodes.
It's not fine. Don't let him off the hook.
4.
I want to know what question he wanted to answer.
I wanted to do the memory one because I like to gloat about the time Yoshida gave me shit for falling on Titan.
Fusion, you know what? This is episode 200.
I already told it. That's what happened. Everybody else has heard this story before.
What are you looking forward
I bring
to
it up all the
Endwalker?
time. Story. With the side of lore, which is also story. With the side of music, which is also kind of story.
Yeah, really.
I mean, really, when you think about it, when Ishikawa's like, Soken, add a clock to that track, and he's like, all right, and so story is music. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the story. I'm hoping we get Hildebrand back. Please.
Yeah.
Right.
Reaper looks cool. I'm gonna level it all. I'll have the gear all ready for Dragoon.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with like Dancer. It's like, well, I might as well. I have it for Machinist. Bard's over there like, well, what about me? I'm like,
fun.
Shut up, Bard. You had your chance. I named Bard in 1.0.
I feel as though "Shut Up, Bard" has been said quite a few times.
I mean,
in history.
Probably yes. Yeah.
I didn't used to know that Garuda had the sister ads that spawned because I would always mana burn it in 1.0 as Bard. I would just be like, here's MP, Black Mages, kill the thing quick. And that was, 2.0 came out and like, wow, they revamped the fight. And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, oh, apparently I never saw the actual fight. My bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I think mostly what I'm looking forward to. So
I have a question for you, Fusion, to dovetail off of that because today is the day of dovetailing.
Oh no, bird of butts. Let's go.
You playing the version of you, the person of you in the past that played 1.0 to now 200 episodes, Final Fantasy XIV. relaunched, rebooted, all this stuff, right? What do you think out of that journey you would either want to tell that person that started the game about the future of the game, or what do you think has been like the takeaway or most meaningful thing that you've come away from living through this entire journey and casting and creating around it, or both? I don't know.
Well, see, once you open up the casting thing, that's an easy question, right? Because I've been doing this for, oh gosh, what is it, 14, 15 years? Now it's like we're getting to the point where like soon I'm gonna be like half my life. Holy, like back when I did the 11 cast, because I did the 11 cast, I met my wife. Like that's it, game over. That's like the best thing. And I know she's been poking around in chat a little bit, so I'm surprised I didn't hear like an oh like coming from the other room. But yeah, I mean that's
nerd.
Yeah.
From the other room.
I mean we call each other nerds all. Yeah, good answer.
Exactly.
Wink. Yeah. See. Now I don't have to sleep on the couch tonight. Mission accomplished. But yeah, I mean that's definitely. I mean there's been, you know, other little small stories, you know, along the way. Like I had a friend that used to teach history, and he had some kids in his class one day. One of them was listening to an iPod and laughing, and he goes over and he's like listening to the 11 podcast. He's like, I can't believe you're listening to that crap. And he's like, you've heard of this show? He's like, yeah, I know Fusion. The kid's like, wow. Just, you know, like small stories, stuff like that. It's honestly, looking back at it all, it's so insane to me. Like, you know, we talked a little bit about this earlier with Frosty, the idea of, yeah, I'll start a podcast and maybe a few people will listen to it, and then lots of people listen to it, and then, you know, before you know it, here I am 14, 15 years later, and it's just like, damn, like I literally do not know what my life would be without doing this kind of stuff, which is nuts. So shout out to the 100+ people in chat for coming out today, and the more that, you know,
came through.
Check us out on YouTube, download the MP3s and stuff. I mean, we do this for you guys, so to have that kind of support is really awesome. And you know, we're still going. We're gonna, you know, 200 more. I mean, it took us a while to get to. You know, it's been
although
almost 12 years for this, so.
In the past, I don't know how many, 3, 4, 5 years, we've been doing them way more consistently than we first started.
We have been doing more. I almost said weekly, and I'm like, how long has it been since our last regular episode?
Close to weekly.
But that was a blip.
But yeah,
That's
I mean,
not
back in
normal.
the day, our first episode was like, hey, Famitsu released an issue, and they talk about 14. Let's talk about this exciting system called Guild Leaves.
Yeah.
How far we've come. I actually still have that magazine. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we would do episodes whenever stuff came out, right? I mean, and okay, there's a TGS, cool, we'll do an episode. 3-4 months later, hey, there was an interview with like Tanaka where he says they'll never go free to play. Okay, cool. 4 months later, hey, they're talking about the game again. And so, yeah, I mean, we've become more regular. I mean, we're at the point now where, and I don't know how many people watching know this, starting a couple years back, like we've started to be able to pay people too, which is awesome. I mean, obviously we're not like full-time in, right? Oh, yeah. If only, but, I mean, just, you know, to be able to have enough support from, you know, people that, listen and support us on Twitch, or people that just, you know, visit the website and don't turn ad blockers on.
Right.
You know, being able to do that. I mean, and we don't do just 14. Yes, 14 is a lot of what we do, but I mean, this past year, we're on Metacritic right now for Gamer Escape. Like, we have an amazing reviews team. Our team, Josh, he does a fantastic job managing that. We've got people doing news. Like, we're doing a lot of stuff. And it's
team always.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes. I mean, as much as prep work as I did for this podcast, like this show is only one small part of the website. I mean, there's so much more to it. So, and then there's people to that work on that stuff and back that up. So, you know, everybody watching right now, listening in, wherever you are, however you're doing it, Twitch, YouTube, VODs, MP3, thanks. Thank you for your support. You know, hopefully we can keep doing what we're doing it better. We do have some stuff in the works that's been a long time coming. hopefully we can show that sooner rather than later. But you know, sometimes things take time, and this is like, if you looked up things take time in like a phrase dictionary, like this would be the picture next to it, because it has been a while. But hopefully we can do something really cool for you guys. And yeah, just thanks for listening, and hopefully we can keep on keeping on.
Yes, thank you, and please look forward to it.
She said she said the thing.
It's the thing that we said, yeah. No, but really, thank you all so much.
Yeah.
That is going to do it. We're starting to like rival like a Lorecast episode length here. This is weird. Moose, you need to come back in? Do we need to?
This is the lore of us. This is our lore.
Moose, you sure you don't want to come back in and talk about Nautiluses?
Yeah, I have very many thoughts about Nautiluses.
Nautilus. Yeah, we will absolutely be covering the great Nautilus debate at some point. Obviously, with it from the Spiral Notebook. That's your task. When we get to that episode, Rook, you need to make a Spiral Notebook.
I'll do.
And
look,
you'll just
I'll
be like,
do
all
it.
right, theory number 1.
Guys. The plural of Nautilus is Nautiluses or Nautili.
Oh, it's both.
Nailed it.
Oh,
Wow.
dang.
Boom.
Yep.
First try. All right.
We're so wise. 200 episodes wise, one might say.
Yeah, exactly.
We're so smart. So yeah, I mean, obviously between here and Walker, we have some time where there's not really going to be a lot of new stuff. Obviously, we'll have BD Tour at some point, so that'll give us some stuff. But yeah, so we'll probably be running maybe a little more first edition.
And if you guys have any topics you want us to talk about,
yes,
let us know.
You have topics you want us to cover, let us know. We if we have a couple of ideas already, I think 5-6 episodes about Nautili. At least, yeah. It's if you thought the 5.5 Lorecast trilogy was crazy, just wait for the Nautili saga. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna make the Skywalker saga look like just brown mage magic.
Oh my gosh.
I brought it back to
Full
brown
circle.
mage.
You did. It was good. Well done. It was
All
nice. It was a nice way to round it out.
All right, everybody, you can contact us, Aetheryte Radio at gamerescape.com. You can tweet at us at Aetheryte Radio. You can also find us on Discord, discord.gg/gamerescape. We have an Aetheryte Radio channel on there. You can drop suggestions for topics you'd like to see us cover. And of course, you can also reach us Twitter and Facebook as Gamerescape. So that is going to do it. Again, thank you for everybody for coming out today, for hanging out for the last 200 episodes. Has anyone actually been around here, like listening to us just banter about guild leaves for 12 years? Because if so, you are the real MVP.
Full disclosure, I listened to that first episode before.
Oh, it's awful.
It was even on the podcast.
Yeah, I think one of the last episodes of LBR we did, it was like we listened to that and just like talked about how bad it was. I think that was a thing that we did. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I think I just saw a tweet. I was gonna host Frosty, but I think they actually wrapped up.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
we did. We talked so good with so many people.
Yeah, we went so long that we actually went over. World damn. Let's go.
Watch that VOD, people.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna be a good
It
one.
should
it'll be a good one.
It should be a really good discussion. He had Jesse Cox on, and
Annie Fuchsia, I think.
Yeah, Annie Fuchsia. Yeah, talking about 14.
Nice.
So let's see who is online. Let's go ahead. We'll throw it over to Sly. He's playing some Streets of Rage 4. I'm assuming the DLC. So we'll go and check that out. Again, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you back here next week. And I believe Callie will be joining us next week.
Yes.
So please look forward to it, as they say.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you later.
Goodbye, everybody.